Well, let's give this another shot. Apparently a Windows update moved my mic around, and I just read through my entire script. I'll do it again real quick, just for those who... Nobody's going to want it, but the World Center of Racing may belong to Daytona, but there's only one greater spectacle in racing. The Donut Box and 5150 Racing Leagues hope to encapsulate and emulate that motorsport magic this morning and afternoon, testing their own and a host of challengers for the 200-lap feat that 33 will embark on tomorrow, May 26th. It is the Donut Box and 5150 Indy 500. Welcome to Pit Stop TV, then, in the virtual Speedway, Indiana, for real this time. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the Donut Box and 5150 Racing League's 2024 Indianapolis 500. Today's broadcast coverage, as you saw, is brought to you by the Donut Box Racing League, 5150 Racing League, Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, and CC's Business. We are here at Indianapolis, virtually anyway, and this is such a special place. It goes without saying, Zach, but we have to go over, we have to talk about this racetrack and intro anyways, even though nobody can really do it justice. Indianapolis is just so special to motorsport, and it's good to be here, at least virtually.
Yeah, nobody can really forget anytime they grab a win here at Indianapolis, whether it be the Indy 500, the Brickyard 400, which is newly coming back to the NASCAR Cup Series, scheduled this year. So many highlights that you can think of when it comes to Indianapolis. And recently they just started doing sports car racing, because now we have IMSA coming over here for the 6 hours of Indy. Really great events that come out of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but the Indy 500 is what we're here to talk about today. And these Indy cars here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, I mean, they just go hand in hand together. And it's not like a typical racetrack where you would think, oh, it's an oval, it's got 4 turns. But sometimes you think, well, maybe it's just 2 turns because they're all the same. Well, Indy said, we're not going to let you do that to us. And they put a little short chute as we like to call it, between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the drivers will come through the corner, get that car straightened back out, head to the next corner, and then all the way down the straightaway once again. So keep an eye out, because there's a lot of moves that can be made between the short shoots and the straightaways.
Yeah, those short shoots will be, I think, where things get the most interesting throughout the course of the afternoon. And there is definitely a lot to talk about throughout the course of this race, I feel like. And that's just part of Indianapolis. Now, we do have a lighter car count. We'll kind of soft intro this whole thing. We do have a lighter car count, which is worth talking about. But let's quickly cover what else we have coming the rest of this week. We have 2 races at Charlotte, the Icon Cup Series and the Victory Fuel 125, and then we head out to Gateway with the Icon Cup Series. Cars are on track for qualifying. Worth talking about their weather conditions real quick. 75 degrees in the air, 97 on track. And as we get into the sim then properly for the first time in this broadcast, Zach, we do have 14, 15 cars, which it sounds light. We can go over the Whiplash Simcam's race details pretty importantly, because there are 2 fast fixes, 2 green-white checkers, not 2 green-white checkers, 2 fast repairs that will keep drivers in this race, even if something happens to them that might discourage them from continuing on, which I think is pretty important given the context of the situation, and will, I think, keep drivers in this race. So it's going to be a little bit different from normal Indy 500s, if you will. It's going to be a little bit less, I think, 33 car electric, but we are still going to have plenty to talk about over the course of 500 miles, and definitely going to be an interesting day.
Absolutely. And I think unlike the actual Indianapolis 500, we don't have rain in the forecast. Not today. Clear sky, sunny, and well, these drivers are on track in their qualifying laps, and so flag relatively soon.
Yeah, just 2 minutes of qualifying. We'll have a 5-minute warm-up session right after this qualifying session. We still have a little bit to go until the green flag. Plenty of time, though, for us to consider who might go to victory lane in this race. Cam Patterson on provisional pole. Brianna Lavin, second place currently in qualifying. Here's Spencer Torrance on track in car number 55 from Firelight Esports. How about car 88? That's Cody Moore, currently on track. It is one of our organizers behind the event today in the number 88. Hunter Terpstra on track, one of the higher I-rating drivers, car number 3. Looks like he's slowing down after a qualifying run. Let's also take a look at JT Tinker, who looks like he's slowing down. Fozzie Fazzillo, though, just came across the line and will go position number 12. Matthew Byers now on track, and we can go on board with driver 44.
A little wide there in turn 3. These drivers from 2-4, you want to kind of get those left side tires right down there on that white line. Sometimes you want to give it a little bit of speed. Byers across the line from 40.1. The spot in line. Qualifier. Got another lap in. Still time to make it up.
Looks like EJ Bertrand and Anthony Zirkle will take no qualifying time in today's qualifying session. And you're right, Matthew Byers has one more shot to go to the top of the board. And this is an open setup race, so these guys are using whatever setups they could find or build throughout the course of the week, getting ready for this race, which means we are going to see some differing paces. And I think for Byers right now, maybe he's focusing on race pace as we go inside the cockpit. What a view right here. A little bit low down on the helmet, but really cool view nonetheless, as he will go faster, but moves up the position, moves up the pylon none. Those spots gained by car 44 in qualifying.
Yeah, unfortunate to see, especially with not too much time left here in qualifying, but like you said, Andrew, it's open setups. Qualifying pace may not be indicative of race pace.
Well, and it gives us a chance to go over our ATVO race keys. We don't do this very often, but qualifying was number 1, and, well, we just saw who's going to be fast and who's not. Oh, how about a 10-minute warm-up? I thought it'd be 5 minutes. I got some fact misconstrued, I guess, but qualifying, very, very key here in Indianapolis. That, of course, just took place. In-car adjustments, the weight jacker and the ARB, the anti-roll bar, those are going to be, I think, in race conditions, the 2 most important parts of this race for any given driver. Tire management, of course, piggybacks off of that, and test big moves before you have to make them. You want to make those big moves out of line or make those big slingshots before you have to rely on it to win this race. Well, I guess Zach having a moment there, but again, you want to test those big moves before you have to rely on them during the race. It's going to be so important if you maybe want to set somebody up out of turn 4, or if you want to set somebody up in a short shoot, however you want to make the pass to maybe win this race or go second, third, whatever, you're going to want to test that move before you have to rely on it. And of course, if you don't know, weight jack or anti-roll bar, to go back to a previous point, those are available to these drivers. Of course, it is an open setup race. The weight jacker kind of helps wedge the car and help it turn, but if you're adjusting it for traffic and you go out there and suddenly you're solo on the racetrack, you might have too much in it. You have to really be active on that weight jacker, especially. The anti-roll bars, you can't really mess the car up too badly with them. If you over adjust, it's pretty hard to over adjust unless you go to the tight side. But going loose is pretty hard to get it too loose from anti-roll bar alone. Weight jacker, though, it's very, very easy. So, Hunter Terpstra on track. Let's ride on board with a few different of these drivers. Here's Spencer Torrance, as we talked about a little while ago, from Firelight Esports in car 55, and I know we're going to have some of them watching. Firelight Esports, Premier Racing Setups, Rez Coffee Company, IMB Racewear, all of their partners on board. Wyatt Iams, a teammate. They also have Marlo Duncan in this race in car 14. She's not on track at the moment. A little bit of wall contact there for Wyatt. Cam Patterson also on track. He goes by Wyatt, actually, in the 38 car. Terpstra goes faster at a 40.601. So, Zach, you can see now that race pace, as these guys are out here on the racetrack, it's slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Track's going to keep getting hotter, so times are going to keep slowing down. It's going to get a little bit more slick as well. So you don't want to be making aggressive moves later on in the race. You really don't make it again. Referencing that white line you see right there. Look at that. Dip in those left sides below the white line. That's going to get really dicey as tire wear goes on and the driver starts to get a little more comfortable with the track, but comfortable is always really good.
A little bit of race practice here. This is actually a really good look at what we could expect throughout the course of 200 laps, rather, 500 miles. No racing the rest of the weekend for us at Pit Stop TV. We're back in action on Monday evening at 7:45 p.m. Eastern with the Icon Cup Series as they head out to Charlotte. Which means there is full enjoyment this evening of the NASCAR Xfinity race. I believe that's going to be the Alisco 300. And as well, crash there out of turn 4. That's going to involve, I think, Brandon Lavin, and is that Spencer Torrance, or was that Wyatt? I think it was Wyatt Iams. Regardless, Zach, plenty of enjoyment to go around with the NASCAR Xfinity race later today. I believe F1 just qualified out in Monaco.
No spoilers.
There's no spoilers here. I just know what was happening, but let's see, what else I think there's MotoGP at Spain this weekend. But of course tomorrow, the greatest day in motorsport for sure with Monaco, the Indianapolis 500, the Coca-Cola 600, plenty of... there's no iRacing distractions for us. We're back in action though on Monday with that race, the Icon Cup Series. And then actually Tuesday, we have a special event as well. Very much like this event, where this is a special event, a one-off for these guys. We're going pretty much all-star racing with the Regal Promotions Group out at Charlotte. It's an 84-lap Xfinity car race, which, Zach, when I say 84 laps, like I said, that kind of fits into an all-star format almost. It's a short race, just 125 miles, so it's going to be a little bit brief and force these guys that do race on Tuesday evening to be very much up on the wheel in the Victory Fuel 125. A lot of money at stake for those drivers if they can go to Victory Lane. Should be a fun night.
Yeah, usually an all-star race format takes about 100 laps, so yeah, you're right. It's up there in the format and keeping it with a short sprint type style race, but 84 laps is still the type of race where you want to make sure you manage those tires, do whatever you can. Charlotte's a tough track, and it's always really fun to see especially Xfinity cars. They put on such a great show. They also got Icon Cup Series stuff as well. And we've got a few other broadcasts in the works as well coming up soon. So hopefully we have a lot more stuff to bring here on TV. But Andrew, it's Indy 500 racing, and I can't wait to see these guys take the green flag. We got 4 minutes left in the warm-up. Got any thoughts going into the race?
Well, I do actually, and one of those is going to be that you can still sign up for the Donut Box and 5150 Coca-Cola 600 that's happening later today. Their Coke 600 race happening, I believe, at about 5 p.m. Eastern tonight, so you can still sign up to go run that race. Zach, maybe that's going to tickle your fancy, who knows? I know I can't do it, unfortunately. That'd be a little too much racing for me in one day, but there's definitely that opportunity to go get on track with these guys. So they're doing their own double. Where a lot of these drivers are running this Indy 500 this morning, and they're going to run that Coke 600 later today. So if that maybe is keen to you, there should be some admins in the chat. I believe Hutchinson is out there. Might be able to get you a Discord invite link and get you into the event later on today. It would be a lot of fun to see some of you guys go run that race. Unfortunately, we won't be broadcasting it, but it should be a fun event nonetheless. And, you know, Zach, when you came back from that moment away, you were suddenly way loud, and it sounds like you got way quiet again. I'm trying to adjust your volume here. You're sending me for a loop. We haven't even gotten racing yet, but how about the cars that are on track? Can you pick one? One out of the any. Can you pick one to go for victory lane?
Maybe guess all too soon, to be perfectly honest. I haven't gotten completely familiar with everyone out here just yet. So, kind of feeling everything out. If I had to take one pick right now, I would have to go with Cam Patterson, just because he's the pole sitter, he's looking quick, and you know, I think there's a lot of open possibility though, especially with these drivers having open setups. I will say, my whole issue with my microphone right now actually is my cat's fault. Because she likes to sit on top of my computer, and what happens is she likes to face the exterior vents that are on the back. So her backside is facing the front of the computer, which has my power button and it has my microphone plug-in. And when she gets very comfortable, she likes to scoot back and sit on my microphone plug-in, which in turn messes with it, makes me sound distorted, messes up a little bit, so I have to go in and adjust it and move her, and then it makes me sound different pretty much every time. So hopefully she does not walk across it and turn my computer off like she has done in the past. Yeah, there was a time when I raced the Coca-Cola 600 and I got halfway through the race and she said, boop, not anymore.
Yeah, let's hope that that changes, because we don't want anything like that happening. But on track here, not qualifying, warm-up wrapping up. Brian Zamara is currently fastest in car 53. Hunter Terpstra second quick. Wyatt Imes racing here with Zamara actually third quick. And Imes going to go down the racetrack and make a move here to turn 3, testing the waters a little bit for later today. And again, you want to test those moves before you have to make them, Zach. That is a great example of what I'm talking about. You want to test those slingshots, those moves into the corners, especially turn 1, turn 3, to test what you can and can't do and get yourself a little more comfortable with racing around other drivers in this race before you have to do it for the win.
Absolutely. But always feel it out first. You got 200 miles.
I keep doing it too. I keep doing it too.
200 laps. There's so much time for testing and making sure that you have what you need in this car to keep yourself in this race, and you don't want to get over aggressive too soon. So just keep that in mind when it comes to how much time you have, really. I think go time is the last 50 laps. Even honestly, the last 30 laps, really. You've got so much time. Even then, this track is so big. It's like Pocono or Daytona or Talladega, you can take a pit stop and not go a lap down.
It's going to be close, real close. That Delta, it's always close to Indianapolis, because you do have to go so slow down the pit lane for so long. It's always a very, very close Delta, but cars heading to the racetrack. We've got the grid on the way this evening, or See, this evening, I'm used to it. It's still 11:36 a.m. on the East Coast, 8:36 on the West Coast. It's still plenty early, but let's roll through.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, let's roll through our starting grid, brought to you by CC's Business. Cam Patterson on pole this evening in car 38, Brianna Lavin from second place. How about Spencer Torrance and Marlo Duncan, a couple of teammates there on row number 2. Starting from 5th and 6th, you'll find Seth Stridle and Cody Moore. Hunter Terpstra and Wyatt Imes, then Brian Zamora and JT Tinker round out our top 10. The rest of the field, Zach, they'll roll by on the bottom of the screen. We've talked about the weather conditions. We'll take another look at it. Track temp up to 104 degrees. We've talked about the race details. We can do that again here in a second as well. We've talked about the race keys. Is there anything else that you feel like we need to keep track of here?
Not particularly, actually. I think we've covered it quite in detail today. I think the only thing left to cover is that our 15th place starter, EJ Bertrand, he has actually disconnected from the session. He's not here anymore, so we have 14 starters on track for today, and it looks like
13. Anthony Zirkle will not take the green flag.
Well, they are lining up 3 abreast to really give us that Indy 500 feel. So these guys are rolling through 3 and 4, Andrew. Lights are out atop the pace car.
Cody told me they might try this. He didn't tell me if they would, and I love this. This will be a very fun way to get this race started. I did not expect them to actually follow through with it. But hey, we'll take it. This is the kind of impromptu we like here at Pits.TV. This is going to be fun to get this race underway. So, the Donut Box and 5150 Racing League 2024 Indianapolis 500 with this trip across the yard of bricks will officially be underway. Green flag at Indy. Down the backstretch, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, first time at a turn 3. Spencer Torrance up the inside. That'll be for the race lead. Seth Stridle trying to stride on through as pole sitter. Cam Patterson falls back in a crash. Maybe lap 1, a little bit of contact. They keep it going straight, just barely.
A lot of cars in the wall back there. Nobody seems to be taking to the pit lane, so it looks like we'll keep it clean and keep it green. Complete the first of 200 laps here at Indianapolis. Torrance out in front, Patterson close behind, and it looks like everyone's going to get single filed out.
You just need to log laps. That is the most important thing. For about 180 laps of this race, just play the game. Get through this race, get to the end, then fight for the win. That's all these drivers need to do right now. That lap 1 mishap, not sure what happened, but Hunter Terpstra, who was fast in warm-up, fast in practice, has fallen back to the 10th position. Aaron Poplin is way back here behind the field. He is some 4 seconds off pace right now.
Yeah, may not have what he needs inside that car. Third place runner going, Brianna Lavin going fastest overall. And it looks like everyone's, this is one thing that's throwing me off right now. Everyone's snaking on the back straightaway right now, and even a little bit on the front straightaway, trying to keep the toe. And it just seems a little early to be going on with that right now. Just long laps.
That's just part of it.
Now, do what you can, and be able to, just be there at the end. I think the one thing that drivers need to be concerned about right now is that a little lighter on the car count means there's less likelihood for caution. So fuel strategy is top of the mindset right now.
I think one of the toughest parts about Indianapolis is managing going early and not, because you have to race from the get-go. You have to make sure you stay in the draft, but you also, as you're alluding to, don't want to get too aggressive. So you have to do this snaking thing just to stay in the draft and stay competitive, but there is also plenty of time, and I'm sure we'll see at least a caution or 2. I can't imagine we run this entire race green flag, although we are bunching up a little bit at the back. Wyatt Imes, Matthew Byers, Hunter Terpstra, and JT Tinker to round out our top 11 cars on the racetrack are starting to get closer together.
Yeah, we see a little bit of a fight going on up here at the front.
Yeah,
There's
big
a
one.
move for second.
Brianna Lavin just went 3rd to 4th very quickly. Cody Moore, I think, had a runner to turn 1 and took the fight. As now Wyatt Imes is checking up slow in turn 2. Couple of big moments for lap number 5, I suppose.
That seems like everybody is now starting to feel where they're
Whoa, Cody Moore for the race lead.
What a run right there from 3rd to 1st up to the front. He's going to take the lead here in the Indianapolis 500.
We've got our second lead change of the day, and there's plenty of more where that came from. Spencer Torrance looking up at that 88 car, might take a shot. And Zach, we're going to do a lot of theorizing, and that's part of our job, but right now, just like the drivers, all we need to do is get through these laps, and it's going to take a while to do so. This is a test of endurance, not just for the drivers, also for us a little bit. Definitely to a lower degree, but this is a test of endurance for these guys. To keep the mental focus, especially, I think it might be more difficult with the car count they're facing today. I think it's more difficult with fewer cars to manage that focus and do it well than if you had 33 on the racetrack.
I might actually agree with you on that one, actually. As, let me see, everyone, top 5, just you throw them under a blanket right now. I think these drivers just have to make sure they keep in line and don't really do anything that's going to be a big step out. You know, don't go. It's early enough to start going up to the outside, but don't start doing that later in the race. That's where all the marbles are going to be. It's very, very sketchy up there. I think another thing these drivers need to consider, their engine map mode. One thing these drivers have access to, you don't see in a lot of other racing series. All it does is
big crash! That's going to wipe out several cars. The first caution of the day presented by CC's Business comes out, and Matthew Byers still banging that car to the outside wall. Marlo Duncan's involved. JT Tinker. JT Tinker has hit the pit attenuator. He's trying to get to pit lane. He's not going to be able to.
I don't think he has any steering control. There it is. He's going to have to tow. That is unfortunate for Tinker.
Was looking down from my monitor even as that all happened. That is unfortunate. You see Duncan heading down the pit lane. Tinker already there. Matthew Byers, a lot of damage. Aaron Poplar was able to avoid it. Wyatt Imes was right behind it. So let's go back and take a look at what just happened on lap number 7. Oh, there's the end of it. Marlo Duncan, car 14, is that red car. Hunter Terpstra is the blue 3. Tight out of turn 3, nearly put Duncan to the fence. Here comes the yellow machine. That's going to be, I believe, JT Tinker, and see it all unfold. Wow, Wyatt Imes, what a job locking it down. We're on board for that.
Close right there. So 3 cars involved in this caution here. I think there seemed like a little bit of net code involved as the drivers came through turn number 4, watching from the blink cam. Just a big snap of oversteer and nowhere to go from the other drivers.
Yeah, it's difficult to say exactly how Marlo lost control of their car. Let's ride on board with Tinker, see if we can learn a little bit about this. Duncan got real bunched up there, and I think just the weight shift of having to back out as Terpstra took them up the fence almost. I think just the weight shift really got that car out of control. You see JT Tinker trying to get to pit lane after that, smashing into the inside wall. I think 3 of the 4 wheels were bent.
Yeah, you can see just how much he was struggling. He could only really go straight.
On board
here with Tinker. You can't really see too much out of these Indy cars, and yeah, both front wheels disconnected, no steering control whatsoever. He's got a straight shot to the pit lane, but he hit the wall too soon, which sent him right back up. On board with Byers, right behind Tinker when it happened. Nowhere to go. Get some air. This ain't Air Bud, but he definitely got some air right there.
Ramped over the left rear of Tinker's machine. Get another look here. This will be all nice and zoomed in. This should be a great view of that ramp up in the air. Right there. Wow. vicious impacts for those drivers. And
Whoa, bad job there. That was Wyatt Imes, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, it was why Imes, we were on board with him when it happened, and just the surprise coming back to it that Imes must have felt. Watch on board.
See just how much he had that wheel cranked to avoid it and then locked it down. That's the one thing that makes it difficult if you're on the brakes while turning. That car does not want to get down to the bottom. So, again, great job there by Wyatt to be able to avoid, and, well, he gained a few spots out of it.
Wyatt now 8th under caution. Most drivers pitting under this yellow. Cody Moore, one of them. He actually will lead these drivers back onto the racetrack as Spencer Torrance and Seth Stridle stayed out. There's Cody Moore. It looks like he took fuel only. Well, that could have been tires, actually.
Now, tires take a little bit longer, just mainly because I think iRacing at least tries to simulate that there's only one person per tire here in the IndyCar series.
Let's take a look at his pit stop. Let's double check our math.
I think one thing to note here as well, he's rolling through a lot of the high gears until he gets to the pit lane. That shows me that he is probably rolling through the engine map modes to save fuel under the yellow flag. As we roll down the pit lane here, Moore is towards the front with the pit boxes, so let's see what he's got here.
He goes up on the pneumatic jacks, it's tires, and for him, just fuel only. Surprised by that. It is definitely early to take tires. You have 10 total, 9 change tires in the pit lane. So it is a little bit early for sure, but as we go back green flag at Indianapolis, who knows? We'll see some different strategies unfold. Spencer Torrance back to it, green flag. Single file restarts, keeping us somewhat spread out, but up front, Seth Stridle with a move for the race lead. And Seth will take over control of the Indianapolis 500. Cody Moore now third place, crash again! And this is a big one. JT Tinker just gets by. Terpstra's involved. Fozzie Fazzillo.
Oh, they're stuck together.
They are, wow. There they go.
There we go.
Terpstra and Fazzillo will separate. A little bit of hug down there in the turn 4 grass, and they will continue on.
Side pod a little bit.
Second caution of the day at Indianapolis, and hello. It's right on board with Fazzillo. This is the lap leading into it.
Just coming off the restart. Everyone still seems single file. So, quite interesting to me to see that everyone got so aggressive so early. Here is going into 3. There he is, right up in front. Nowhere to go, checks up. Oh, wow, that's some air right there.
That's what we call in the business target fixation.
Well, I mean, ramping off the Hot Wheels car.
Well, but he focused almost on Terpstra, it seemed like, and followed right into that car.
Look at Tinker. Oh, boy.
Samara, the other car mainly involved in this, and it happens with Terpstra. It's the second caution in a row to follow the 3 car. Not saying that he's causing anything, but, well, I'd say he did cause that.
Contact right there.
He just sent it in deep, trying to get, well, as good of a quarter as possible, and got into Zamara. I think that's the easiest way to put it. He just got into him. He's back to turns 1 and 2. From Zamara, looking back at Terpstra on the 3 car. When we get down here to turn 3, we'll switch angles right here. And Terpstra's just going to be there right on his left rear the whole time and just... It sounds like Zamara might have just got out of the gas. But I think it really comes down to positioning, and that, if Zamora was pushed up the racetrack, I say pushed, if he had to take a higher line, it was because of Terpstra's presence. I'm going to still put that on the trailing car. It's usually how racing incidents are handed out as far as blame game. Well, let's ride on board with Tinker here and see how he misses this crash. Makes a move there on Fozzie Fazzillo, which might have been pretty important considering Fazzillo was in it and Tinker was not. This is going to be close. Oh, and he actually hit the wall pretty hard. Oh.
Woo. I think a few cars behind him had a bit closer of an incident there.
And you see now Tinker in the pit lane taking repair. He's been here for 1 minute and 20 seconds. He's still 1 lap down. There's Terpstra back on the racetrack. And suddenly you're looking at nearly half the field having used 1 of 2 fast repairs, which means they're all still in this race, but they're certainly working up to not having a mulligan.
Well, a few drivers have had to use 2 fast repairs now as well. So, still in the race, like you said, Andrew,
no, actually, no drivers have had to use 2 yet.
Really?
It was Byers, Duncan, and Tinker in the first caution, Fazzillo, Terpstra, and Zamora in this caution. Then Aaron Poplin kind of in the middle of them. So 6 cars have used 1 fast repair. That's what I love about, I gotta say real quick, that's what I love about ATVO lately. There's been a lot of big updates. That is one of them, to show the fast repairs. That wasn't always a feature. But the broadcast software that we use, ATVO, built by Appgeneering, able to show us how many fast repairs these drivers have. So while it's not something I can pull up on stream for you guys to see, I can see it behind the scenes in timing and scoring, which is a huge help as we get ready for another race restart. Kind of slowed our progress a little bit here, but plenty of time left to go. If these boys can just string back out a little bit and get a fuel run in, yeah, we can keep it green for sure. Big checkups. Oh, yep, that's a wing gone for Duncan. Marlowe, oh, and they're crashing. Zamora just ran in the back of Marlowe Duncan. Marlowe has no rear wing. We are back green flag. This is not going to last long, I don't think. Yeah, Duncan's about to be reversed in turn 1. Yep, they know it. Marlowe's backing off. I saw it coming. 1 car, then the next, then the next, then the next. Everybody just jackrabbing, trying to bunch up right at the restart. Oh my gosh. I'm surprised Marlowe's made it this far, honestly.
Honestly, you'd think that with the rear wing gone, no rear end stability, he'd go spinning into the corner, but it looks like he's keeping it low on the power, staying in 5th gear. He's going to be able to take it to pit lane.
Marlowe into the pits. Meanwhile, up front, Seth Stradle, Spencer Torrance for the race lead. Cam Patterson 3rd, a little ways back, and Torrance just diving out of the air briefly. Gonna make a move now for turn 3. A little further back, Matthew Byers, Wyatt Imes. They're the next closest battle. We also have Zamora and Fazzillo, and I'm surprised Brian Zamora doesn't have more damage on that 53 after making contact with Marlowe Duncan on the restart. I thought at first the right front wing had fallen off, but apparently that's not the case, as here comes a move from Fazzillo into turn 1.
Yeah, big move right there going into turn 1. Just able to get it done. As we see a fight up here for the lead, Torrance goes all the way down to the bottom, looking to clear going into turn 3, and he will. New race leader.
Yeah, they're starting to swap that lead, which is a good thing, actually, for them. If they can leapfrog one after the other, they can actually run away from Cam Patterson and company. I mean, Cody Moore, Brianna Lavin, they're trying to leave as well, and Lavin just went fastest last lap. So there is definitely good reason for these 2 drivers to swap, as now Stridle takes back over. If they can keep doing this, they can at least prolong their lead. I think Patterson's got enough draft at this point. He'll be able to catch up regardless, but they're at least doing the honest fight here. There goes Torrance, right back on by.
Well, Bob and Lee, Indian runs, as some of us like to call them from our early racing days. I know when I was learning how to be able to handle a race car, they used to teach me Indian runs where it was the leader sets the pace. You have a line of maybe 2, 3, 4 cars, and then the car comes back, takes a run, goes to the front. Everyone cycles on through, and then you keep on swapping through the line.
That straddles Spencer Torrance, leading the chain. Cam Patterson, Cody Moore, Brianna Lavin. We've had our first retirement, it looks like. Marlo Duncan has parked the car. JT Tinker is back on the racetrack, albeit now 3 laps down. I think that might have been partially out of frustration from Marlo. That restart was, I'm going to say, a bad restart, honestly. That's part of it. I mean, I'm going to keep saying that's part of it, I guess, but that is part of restart games at Indy. When it's single file, it's so tough. So tough. You want to pack up. You want to give some space. But Zach, here we go. Lap 20, 10% of the way through this race.
This race. It's so long at Indianapolis. You think, same distance Daytona 500. For some reason, to me at least, it feels longer. It just feels that way. Maybe because of how it's like Daytona, where you're pretty much flat out the whole time. There's not much room for error, though. You can have a lot more side-by-side racing at Daytona or Talladega compared to something like Indianapolis, where you can be 3 wide all the time, whereas here at Indy, 3 wide is a little frowned upon.
At times, for sure. At times, it's more acceptable, and at times, it's less acceptable as we stay on board with Cody Moore here. I think part of it, we definitely had those couple of cautions, which have slowed us down big time.
Yeah, the first couple of cautions definitely slowed us down a little bit. Now we're getting into a more stable green flag run here. Let me knock on wood so we don't get another caution. But said, Andrew, about 10% of the way through this race. 21 laps completed, 179 laps to go.
Oh, you're doing the big counting. Yeah, I'm not worried about that until we get a whole lot closer.
Big numbers today.
The math isn't worth it to me until we're at least on the far side of halfway as Cody Moore pulls up there. You see Stridle and Patterson sitting back now behind Spencer Torrance, who just took the race lead back away. Up 22 now, 200. There has been another fight happening behind these guys. How about Zamara, Terpstra, and company? But for the race lead, Stridle back on by. Torrance back to the inside, bobbing and weaving. Zamara, Fazzillo, and Terpstra definitely need to do some work. They are 5.5 seconds and losing time behind the race leader. The gap from Zamara to the lead draft, 4.2 seconds and growing.
Not good. Not good at all. See just how far. Look at on the stickers. Just how far away from the leader he is. 5.6 seconds. All the way to the leader. And it looks like it's going to go towards 6 seconds. See Torrance going for another move. Taking the lead back. Going into turn number 1.
Yeah, what you're watching is these couple of deltas here to be able to tell just how far back Zamara is. Byers is the back end of this lead draft. Zamara is the first car in that last little group. That's just how far apart they are.
I'm hearing race communication. They're all starting to figure out strategy and trying to stay in the draft.
Yeah, you want to make sure you pit with at least a partner. That way you can draft and do what the leaders have been doing. That leapfrog, trading the lead back and forth. You want to make sure you've got somebody, as here comes Torrance back on the inside for the race lead. Behind them, I just saw Zamara get taken over by Fozzie Fazzillo, and Fazzillo now will lose that spot. But Fozzie's starting to swap here with Zamara for the race lead. No, that's 8th position.
Yeah, I think they're communicating a little bit just on what they want to do. As you see the drivers here in the front pack snaking going into turn 3. Don't want to compromise that line too late going into 3. I think ending the snake and getting back on the racing line a little bit before corner entry is preferable. So, not to upset the car or really mess with Jack or anything. We got a caution on the speedway.
Oh dear. Ozzy Fazzillo.
Oh,
Brian
no.
Zamara, we were just talking about them doing some work with each other, and oh, you see Terpstra involved again. It's those 3.
2 fast repairs now?
Yes. If you've used 2 fast repairs in the first 16% of this race, that's a problem. Those are your only 2 for the entire race. Oh, Fozzie, no!
That's what we talked about, dipping below that white line. It can really upset the car as the race goes on, and the older the tires get, the more sketchy it is, and I think we just found our first driver who really learned that the hard way.
Ozzy Fazzillo just tags the curb there a little bit too far to the inside, and bam, into the outside wall go Terpstra and Zamara. Oh. That's unfortunate for each of those drivers. Right on board with, yeah, we're right on board with Terpstra here. Man, I hate that. I especially hate that, you know, you're doing your own thing in the case of Terpstra. Even Zamara, you're minding your own business, and one car hits the apron, and not only do they spin, hit the wall, but you end up having to hit the wall to avoid. I hate that. Leaders in the pit lane, though, here we go. Cam Patterson and company. They will work off of the pit lane. Brianna Lavin gonna fall through the order a little bit, down to 9th spot. Terpstra has actually taken the race lead under this yellow. That will change. Those 3 drivers that already pitted, they'll have to go to the rear since they pitted early. But Cam Patterson gonna lead us back onto the racetrack. Spencer Torrance is second once they line back up. Then Seth Stridle and more. And they'll pass these 3 drivers.
Racing guys have not been very kind to a few of these drivers in the first opening stage of this 200 lap race.
Well, let's grab one driver and talk to them. It's going to be Aaron Poplin, who's been running towards the back of this race so far. Aaron, you run 11th as we speak under caution. How's the car feel?
It feels pretty good. I got a little bit of damage on that open lap, but other than that, I'm just kind of pacing here. We got a long race here, and a lot of people are using their stuff up too early.
Yeah, we just noticed after that caution, 3 drivers have now used 2 fast repairs within the first 16% of this race, but you have not used any. You've been back there minding your P's and Q's. How long are you going to sit back before you start to race with these guys?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I might wait till at least the second half of the race. It depends on how much the field kind of dwindles down.
And how much prep went into this day in general for you guys? I don't know if you're running the Coke 600 here later today, but this is a big day for the Donut Box Racing League, 5150 Racing League, and all of you guys who are taking part.
Yeah, I hadn't had enough time to practice, I don't think, but yeah, woke up early, made sure I got into the practice session as soon as I could, and hopefully make it to the end. I want to run all 1,100 miles today.
That's the important thing, to run every single mile today. Aaron, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
Aaron Poplin running towards the back of the field so far, but Zach, the important thing is he has not used a fast repair yet. So exactly why I wanted to talk to this guy. He's running in the back, minding his business, saving his stuff, saving his car, his tires, his fast repairs, his cars, plural, if you will.
I'm sorry, wait a second, what?
What's that?
Had a mental brain fart, so I completely missed your point.
Well, he's sitting in the back saving his cars, plural.
Oh, yeah. Fast repairs. Now I got it.
I threw him for a loop, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go to the restart one more time. This caution period brought to you by CC's Business will come to an end. And we will go back racing at Indianapolis at least one more time. Lap 29 back underway. Spencer Torrance, Seth Stridle right with Patterson for the race lead. 4th and 5th, you'll find Moore and Imes. And there we go, 3 wide, Stridle way to the inside. And he'll back out. I'm just so glad we can broadcast these cars again.
Yeah, little hiccup that we couldn't be able to broadcast these cars for a little while with NASCAR and motorsport games and IndyCar
if you're
as well.
If you're unfamiliar, Motorsport Games held the motorsport or held the video game license to IndyCar there for a little while. Their operations fell through for their IndyCar game. In that time, it was enforced that iRacing was not allowed to broadcast or really be public about their their IndyCars at all. As big move from Cody Moore to the race lead. Torrance up the racetrack in the wall. That shouldn't be too bad, but he grabbed the fence for sure.
Do we see any rolling damage or anything going on with the alignment of the tires?
I think he's okay. I think he's okay. Gathering his stuff up. That was a scary, scary moment there for Spencer. No, he's got damage. Went off into the quarter, couldn't turn. Oh, the front wing's gone.
No.
The left front portion of that wing.
That's interesting considering he hit the wall on the right-hand side.
Yeah, there must have been netcode contact with Cody Moore.
Definitely.
Well, Cody Moore takes over the race lead, but again, for those that are unfamiliar maybe, the Motorsport Games operation fell through on the IndyCar game, which meant that iRacing was suddenly able to be a little more public about the IndyCar being on the platform, and we could... In that time, there was a broadcast embargo put on place on the car. You were not allowed to broadcast any races with any Dallara IndyCars. That includes the older IR05 and DW12 that are on the service. This year, that was reversed. In fact, I believe the license has gone to iRacing, right? I seem to recall that. The license wasn't just opened up, but I think it went back to iRacing. Regardless.
Only iRacing, though, because there's still talk that they do want a console game. So I'm not sure where it's completely going.
Well, iRacing is developing that console game for NASCAR.
Well, maybe they should develop the console game for IndyCar as well. I know the IndyCar fan base has been very, very vocal that they would very much like a new console game specifically dedicated to IndyCar. We've had hints and little tidbits of gloriness where you had IndyCar in Forza for a little while. You've had a few IndyCar mobile games come out, I think, in the last few years, and well, now we have IndyCar back on the sim, and it wasn't just broadcasting rights either, Andrew. It was the whole shtick, everything about the IndyCar. We couldn't even call it really an IndyCar on the iRacing service, and it didn't just affect the Dallara IR18 that you see here today. It affected the legacy cars that we have as well. The IR05 from 2000. When was the IR05? That was about 2011, I believe.
Up till then, I believe, considering, yeah, the DW12, I believe, was debuted in 2012. But yeah, that car, still in use, actually, by a lot of leagues. A lot of leagues still use those older Indy cars, the DW12, the IR05. I'm speaking with a new friend of mine, Gary Godso, actually, who broadcasts for Raceverse. That's his channel. And they almost exclusively cover IndyCar racing. As here's a move from Byers on Fazillo. That was close. Fozzie back out. You don't have any fast repairs. Man, Fozzie just wants to race. I respect that.
He's here to play.
Yeah, in that Robbie Gordon, Tony Stewart, Menards paint scheme. I don't recall exactly if that would be Robbie Gordon or Tony Stewart, or both. I honestly, my IndyCar knowledge is still so surface level. I'd love to be educated there, but we were just talking about something. The IRO 5 DW12 and Raceverse actually broadcasts a lot of IndyCar leagues with each of those cars, and it'd definitely be worth looking at their channel here in a little while after this race comes to a close. Again, that's Raceverse. Just as it sounds, Raceverse, the two words put together. Really cool channel. We're working with them a little bit with Whiplash Simcams to upgrade their broadcasts just a hair, and it's been a really cool process. But talking with Gary Godso, it has definitely been a treasure trove of information there, and learning about how many leagues actually still use those older Indy cars has been pretty cool.
One of the leagues that they run actually is the Velocity Online Racing League.
Yep.
It's one of the leagues that I've had the privilege to compete in with the IRO 5 series, and the car's a little older, but the fun is still brand new for me, and I absolutely love taking a shot at stuff like that. Really getting the chance to dip into something a little different nowadays. You can see a little bit more racing going on with newer style Indy cars here today. 37 laps in to our 200 lap event. We might have a move here by Patterson. He's getting a small run. I think he can stay in line, back out, not really getting too aggressive just yet.
Down to 5th gear in the corners. I'm surprised he's downshifting. I would think these guys might leave it in 6th gear in the draft like this.
Well, that plays into how you would like to be educated a little bit when it comes to the Indy cars, Andrew. The engine map, like we talked about earlier, it's different from what you would see in normal cars. All it does is it tones down the power that you would have in the car to better save fuel over the course of the run. You have 8 engine map modes you can use, 1 through 8. 1 being the lowest, 8 being the highest, and most fuel saving. You can see Patterson here going for a move, 227 going into turn number 3. And the thing with the engine map, you can keep it in a bit of a higher engine map, maybe like engine map 3 or 4, or 2 if you want to. So you can utilize the downshift while still being able to utilize the momentum that you have carrying through these gears to be able to make these passes. So you're saving fuel and you're making moves at the same time.
There you go. Bit of a lesson on engine maps. Cam Patterson now into the 2nd spot. Cody Moore leading this race. Not much changing overall, and we've talked about it before with the SARG Super Speedway Series. We've talked about it just across the board, even a little bit today. Going to be a little bit of hurry up and wait. Just get through this race, which is a good thing, right? You want these guys to just get through this race. You want these green flag laps to happen now so that we can have more racing later, right? That makes sense?
Definitely. Speaking of more racing, Andrew, I want to run this by you real quick. So, we are into 2024. We're advancing into brand new technologies that we've never seen before. AI is making it come up, and there's a lot of great things in the motorsports area that's really starting to come to life. Now, one thing that I'm thinking of, the Triple Crown of Motorsports, everybody knows it. You either win the Formula One Championship, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the Indy 500, or the Monaco Grand Prix. You have it's one of them can be interchanged. I believe it's the Formula One World Championship and the Monaco Grand Prix. Those are the 2 that could be interchanged out of the 3. However, the biggest day of motorsports that everybody knows, Indy 500, Monaco Grand Prix, and the Coca-Cola 600, Formula One, IndyCar, and NASCAR, all on the same day. Let's invent teleportation so one driver can run all 3 in one day. Let's forget the double, let's do the triple.
I wonder how, I mean, it is crossing the Atlantic, so I don't know if it's possible with any plane we have today.
Maybe the Concorde?
When does the Indy 500 start? Noon, right?
About noon, 1 o'clock, and the Monaco Grand Prix takes place about 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, yeah. Now, if Monaco happened about 3 hours earlier, as we have a move here, Patterson finally goes by Cody Moore for the race lead to Indianapolis. So lead change there. Patterson back up to the front where he started this race from. But the Indianapolis 500 does start at 12:45. Monaco Grand Prix if it ended around, well, I guess we can just Google fastest way to cross the Atlantic. We'll work on this in the background, maybe.
Remember, you're not just crossing the Atlantic. I believe, if I paid attention in geography class, Monaco is more inland towards the Asian continent than it is on the European continent. Like, paid attention in geography, that is. So you would have to cross some of Europe.
Going west to east, and this would be slower going east to west because of air, because of winds. But the Concorde can go from, well, could go from New York to London in just under 3 hours. Going the opposite direction, it'd probably be about 4 hours from Monaco, maybe 4.5 from Monaco to Indianapolis. So the Monaco Grand Prix would have to be over probably by 8 o'clock. And I think that just isn't quite possible, unfortunately. But we did see a pass just there, or an attempt anyways. Matthew Byers took a shot at Wyatt Imes. So if we circle back in on what's happening here at virtual Indianapolis for a moment, Matthew Byers starting to maybe get a little bit restless and want to move up this line. We have some 8 cars in this line. Spencer Torrance about to go a lap down, actually.
He's been very much adamant on staying on the racetrack as he continues to lose time. So we look on. There's Torrance still with that front wing damage. He is not giving up, but there's the leaders right behind him. And this is not NASCAR, Andrew. There's no lucky dog. There is no free pass. He is going to have to get that lap back the hard way.
Well, I wonder if he's just trying to hit his fuel number, but I am a little bit curious about this decision.
See, one car almost got the ball out there. That looked like Mara, I believe. There's
Cody
Torrance.
Moore will go by Torrance. And now here comes Wyatt Imes, a teammate over at Firelight. So Spencer Torrance will move down to the inside. Will now join JT Tinker as the only couple of cars a lap down. Tinker actually into the pit lane, interestingly enough. 32 laps on the racetrack and had enough and has to come in for some fuel.
It's our first green flag pit stop of the race, if I'm not mistaken. Away. Did not take any tires. I would figure.
He did. He went up on the jacks.
Oh, okay. Then I just wasn't looking. So we see Torrance finally taking it to the pit lane. I would not use fast repair though. The front wing is interchangeable on these Indy cars. It's about a 5-second required repair time. Might have used fast repair there though.
Well, it'll update here in a second. I don't think he did. But it'll tell us. He was
up on the jack pretty quick.
No fast repair.
Huh?
Whoa, watch the grass though, Spencer. Whoa. That was a little scary.
Very close.
Now Cam Patterson comes around turns 1 and 2, so is about to put Spencer another lap down. So Spencer's about to be 2 laps down. But JT Tinker had already grabbed a lap back. It's difficult, but you can get laps back here by staying out and getting the wave around. We'll see. Time will tell how this race is going to play out. Hate it for Spencer. Hate this situation in general, but he actually, with those new tires, might be able to help Patterson if Cam were to ride behind him, but Cam will instead go on by and put Spencer that second lap down. Now, if Spencer were to draft back by Cam Patterson and we got a caution, he could get back in this race real quick.
Absolutely. Be able to take that wave around and get back on the lead lap, and that's exactly what Torrance wants to see. Now, 2 laps down, his race is far from over. There's definitely so much more time to get those laps back. He's got 151 laps next time we cross the line to be able to take those laps back. So stay in it. Don't give up. There's always a chance you're going to be able to get them back.
A little further back, Seth Stridle has taken over position number 5 from Brianna Lavin some time ago. And Seth is no new driver to Pit Stop TV. In fact, we've seen Seth straddle a bunch of times in the past in Indy cars. He used to run the International Online Racing League, the IORL IndyCar series, and while it's been a long time since Zach Buchanan has put that league together, Seth is no stranger to us. So we've seen him before. In fact, here at Indianapolis, he's always been fun to watch. It's good to have Seth back in an IndyCar, back on Pit Stop TV. It's unfortunate we couldn't get more of those drivers from that series. I know Andrew Maybach was wanting to run, for example. Jake Walsh had even talked about it, but those drivers, unfortunately, not able to make it today. But regardless, Seth has been here. He's now led 14 laps of this race. In fact, he was the one swapping the lead so much with Spencer Torrence a little while ago. So it'd be real cool to see that car get back to the front. Regardless, it's been cool already.
Absolutely. Patterson has actually stretched his lead out a little bit now that I'm looking at the ticker. Half a second over Cody Moore.
Well, and that's going to keep stretching because Moore is now stuck in the dirty air of Spencer Torrence. So Spencer's going to have those new tires and be right on the back end of Patterson. These guys have now run 25 laps. If we get to green flag pit stops, Spencer Torrence is far from out of this race. Just my brain is kind of brain blasting a little bit here, Jimmy Neutron style, right? If we do get green flag pit stops, that'll bring Patterson and everybody in. Torrence will be back on the lead lap almost. We'll be back to one lap down, I suppose. And nearly that second lap back. And then if we get a caution there in the next 20 laps or so, he'll be able to get the wave around then, and sure, he'll have to pit right after, but if we get a string of cautions, he can get back in this race. He's got options. There is a path that he can take to get back in this one, but these guys will pit in the next 5 laps or so, some sooner than others. In fact, Fozzie Fazzillo pitted 27 laps ago, so he might pit within the next 4.
Yeah, the fuel window's definitely starting to open up here for a lot of these drivers. The last time some of these drivers were on pit road, that was, oh my goodness, if I can rattle my own brain, I think that was lap 1, 2.
It was about 27 laps ago for Fazzillo, 26 for the race leaders, 25 in the case of Matthew Byers and Brianna Lavin, and that, of course, now takes up one, so 28 for Fazzillo. So we are up to about 30. So they've got, in fact, we saw JT Tinker pit after about 32 laps, and that was with a caution, as there's a big block from Wyatt Imes on Matthew Byers. Byers will get to the inside and will actually now back out into turn 3, but that was a big moment. You can run about 30, 31, 32 laps on a tank of fuel, depending on how you work the maps and save and whatnot, so we're looking at around that. These guys have about 3-4 laps. In fact, here comes Imes, or Byers. Yeah, Imes.
A little tongue-tied there for a second.
For a moment.
Wyatt Imes down inside the pit lane now. See how quick he can roll through here and get back out on the racetrack so he doesn't lose too much time. Pitting by yourself always still a little sketchy, but here he goes into the box.
And so we'll kick off our pit cycle. Imes will, of course, go up on jacks and take some tires, get down and away here in just a moment. About 9 seconds nearly for a full 4-tire and fuel stop. He'll get back away. And we'll see where he'll blend in. So he is exiting now the pit lane into turn 1. Cam Patterson is down here passing the start-finish line. Looks like he might go a lap down. It's going to be close. Where's Imes now? Out of turn 2. Patterson coming out of the second corner as well. Looks like he'll just stay on the lead lap, and nobody else took to the pit lane that time. It was just Imes on his own. That's interesting.
Yeah, especially since he's got no help now. He's just going to lose overall time. You know, you would think pitting on the new tires at almost any other racetrack, pitting by yourself, getting new tires before anyone else, doing the undercut would be smart strategy, and you'd be able to close that time back. But he's out of the draft. He's not really going to close too much. You can see on the ticker he's pulling back a couple of tenths here and there, but I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference when all these guys decide to put together.
Last lap for Patterson was a 40.6. Last lap for Imes was a 40.8. Whoa! Hello! What just happened between Torrance and Patterson? I was looking at timing and scoring. I missed that. But here comes Patterson to the pit lane. Cody Moore going to go by. For a moment, Torrance is unlapped. There goes Moore. Put it back 2 laps down.
Yeah, if I was Torrance, I would do what I can to get that lap back, but don't compromise anybody else's race. Try to stay in it best you can.
Let's see what happened here. We have more pit stops. Patterson and Poplin both came in that time. Oh, something happened. I think Patterson might have brain faded, or maybe he was trying to adjust something coming into the pit lane, get his pit stop ready. I think he got the outside wall and swerved back over and got out of the gas. Here's Lavin in the pit lane, waiting to get down and away. Poplin as well, and now Cody Moore going to come in. Matthew Byers will stay out. Fozzie Fazzillo will pit. And there goes Poplin back on the racetrack. So now we want to see where Spencer Torrance is going to blend back into the field. He's in turn 2. And first car that has pitted is going to be Wyatt Imes. Is actually caught up to Cam Patterson here, Zach. And he's passed him.
Well, that's definitely going to help his race, especially being able to have a drafting partner now. And sneaking a little bit on the front stretch. Side by side, going into 1, though.
Terpstro's into the pit lane. Fazzillo is exiting. Seth Stridle pitted that time by. Matthew Byers, though, is staying out 1 more lap. This is now lap 32 for him. So when he comes in, it'll be working on his 33rd lap nearly. I'd imagine he's going to pit this time by Cody Moore. Problem. No caution. He has just crashed.
Oh, my goodness. There's no front wing on that car at all.
Stridle comes into his box. I'd imagine this was an issue exiting the pit lane. It was.
Yeah. He just said it. He just called up on the radio communication. Said it was. He never had a spin like that off the pit lane before. Up through the gears. See it happen here, though. Oh, just a big over. Oh my goodness.
How is that not a caution iRacing? Wow.
That was a big
I think
impact.
that was
Almost.
I think that was Imes and Patterson.
Oh right, that was Patterson. There
Yeah, that was Imes and Patterson. Wow,
oh
right
goodness.
between them.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a Code Brown moment.
That is incredible. Watch this from above. That is absolutely incredible. And now, by the way, Byers is finally pitting after his 33rd lap on the racetrack. Wow.
Oh, goodness.
Now, Moore has a chance to get back in this race. He is not done. There's plenty of racing yet to happen here at Indianapolis, folks. But here is Byers finally into the pit lane taking service.
He did have to tow, though, so that's going to cost him quite a bit of time as Byers makes his way out. And Wyatt Imes, who we thought was going to be a little bit further towards the back, looks like he's going to take the race lead here.
Cody Moore finally leaving his box. He'll get back on the racetrack now. A 3rd lap down, I believe. Yeah, it'll be a 3rd lap down here in a second. It's displaying 2 for now. There's JT Tinker.
Byers' strategy working in his favor. He's still top 3 on the board. Fazzillo right behind him.
Well, Byers just got passed into turn 3. Fazzillo goes by. Here comes Seth Stridle as well. And Seth actually blinked out for a second, but comes back. I think he lifted big time. As maybe that was Cody Moore actually who blinked. It was somebody right behind Byers that had blinked out. But regardless, Spencer Torrance has now called it a day.
Unfortunate. Torrance was still able to really make some ground. Only a lap down. He's the first car that would get
was definitely still in this race, but hey, we've still got Wyatt Imes on the racetrack. Cam Patterson, Fozzie Fazzillo, Matthew Byers, Seth Stridle, your top 5. Brianna Lavin, Aaron Poplin, Brian Zamara, Hunter Terpstra, and Cody Moore has just gone back to the pit lane, actually.
Maybe more damage than we anticipated. He's taking that car behind the wall now, too.
Well, he took the fast repair. Did he get the wall, maybe? I think he's just done.
He's just going down the racetrack as normal. There's nothing out of ordinary. Oh, he just pulls right off. Parks it on the apron and yeah. Might be shifting over to live race control as he has taken the car behind the wall now. One of our league admins as well, as you said earlier on in the race. And well, Andrew, we're rolling up on halfway here in about 35 laps. How do you thinking this race is going so far?
Well, actually, I am... Well, I'm trying to figure out what just happened. Apparently, Spencer Torrance he did not park on his own.
Yeah, I actually just noticed that when
Yeah.
looking to see what was going on with Cody Moore. And not sure why Spencer Torrance was parked in a sense.
It seems an admin hit a button that the admin was not supposed to hit, and it wasn't Cody Moore. That's a first for me. I've never seen that. Unfortunately, Spencer Torrance now out of the race. It's being communicated that it was not intentional. That is why Cody Moore has now parked and tried to start figuring this out. We're working lap 66, now a third of the way through this race.
That is an unfortunate end to Spencer Torrance's day. That's one mishap I have not seen before. I've seen a lot of iRacing mishaps, and I'm sure you've seen your fair share as well, but that is a first.
Well, still on the racetrack for us, we have our top 9 and JT Tinker. Tinker 2 laps down, trying to stay in this race and last through. If we get a caution again, which is still very much possible with these cars traveling as fast as they are, can very much get back in this race.
Absolutely. So much still able to happen right now. So much time really left in this race. We're not, like I said, we're not even halfway yet.
It seems it was accidental. Whatever has happened, it's just mind-boggling. I'm trying to sort through and see if there's an update as to what happened, but you see now Cody Moore chiming in a YouTube chat. We appreciate his efforts today.
Absolutely. Oh, side by side right there on the back straightaway.
Yeah, that's Terpstra and Zamara. Yeah, 8th place. Real close here between Patterson and Imes, and if you're Patterson, right, you're probably saving fuel.
That would be the best bet right here. Just sit in line, save fuel, do everything you can. You don't really need to push right now. Everyone's all spread out. The strategy's starting to take into effect. So I think the thing going through Patterson's mind is just the next car is 7 seconds behind him. This is a 2-car race right now. They don't need to race anybody else. Stick in line, fall in, stick in the draft, save fuel. Let Imes burn his stuff up. And then you'll be able to take advantage of being able to sit in draft and save fuel the entire time.
Just doing some math behind the scenes in my head. These guys want to work the race in reverse, right? So if you want to make sure you've got laps to end, well, we have no green white checkers. This race will end at lap 200 no matter what. So you want to pit for the last time about lap 170. Work that back in 30 lap increments, 170, 140, 110, then 80. These guys, their window opens up at about 10 more laps. They get to the end of the race, and they pitted about 10 to 15 laps to go. When do you want to pit? Do you want to pit sooner? Do you want to pit later? Do you want to run shorter runs? I think you would actually right now. At the same time, man, if you do save fuel, you still might be able to eliminate a pit stop or some time in pit lane regardless, but I think if I'm on the racetrack at this point, I think I'd probably start running. I think I would pit, certainly not at lap 80, but I think I would pit sometime early. So if these guys can run, for Patterson, for example, he can run another 16 laps or so. He could run to about 88. I'll probably pit at 85. We saw what that did for Imes. He game up there and got the race lead. So I think I would start cutting a lap or two here. I think I would start doing the short pit.
I'd just run it out. Run the tank out. Find your margins now, but run the tank out I think would be beneficial, just because if you can run longer and save more fuel, so that way you can cut your stop time down, that would make all the difference. You could cut tenths out of leads or 4 position.
Well, while these guys continue on, we're going to go pit stop TV side by side for the first time today. Take a quick break and be back to you in just a moment. Welcome back to the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We are set to go now for just a little over half of this race to go. We've had a couple of cautions. We definitely have. I'm surprised we've run as many laps green as we have at this point, Zach. We've had a healthy green flag run, and I will go ahead and knock on wood just to be safe, but this run has definitely taken a completely new shape to what we expected in the Donut Box and 5150 Racing League Indianapolis 500. Welcoming you all back. Lap 83 of 200. We are just about to hit more green flag pit stops.
Yeah, rolling up on them here pretty soon. Everyone's still pretty much stretched out. We've still got Imes and Patterson super close together, but they have stretched their lead more than a second since the last time we checked on that gap. And now it's up to 8.3 seconds down. Excuse me. Had a frog in the throat there for a second.
Here we go. White Imes in the pit lane. Like I said about lap 85, and this is going to be lap 28 for his run.
Ooh.
Skidding, sliding into the pit lane. Do you think he was down to speed?
I don't think so. That's going to be very, very close. Currently checking on the iRacing tower. Yes, black flag. Wyatt Imes speeding in pit road. He gets that car pointed, and he missed the box. I thought he was just getting the car pointed so he could have a good exit off of pit road, but he missed his box completely. That is really going to take effect into his race, and that's going to open up the door because Patterson now, when he decides to take it to the pit lane, is going to be all by himself. And Wyatt is now stuck in the box, I'm assuming, to take a 40-second hold penalty. That's going to put him one lap down.
And then some. Might even be two.
Here, Patterson, not sure where he is on the racetrack right now.
Out of turn two. He's already put him one lap down. Well, this opens up the pit run, and suddenly, Patterson is on his own, 8 seconds ahead of the lead, or the rest of the field. Fozzie Fazzillo now takes over second, Matthew Byers third, and Seth Straddle, Brianna Lavin. We have a one-car lead. I'm shocked.
Absolutely flabbergasted, I'll say.
This is not at all how I expected this race to look at lap 86. Now, if I'm Patterson, absolutely run it out as far as you can. Try to save as much as possible without going too slow, without saving too much, I guess. Just run as many laps as possible.
The big thing going for Patterson now is he's got a huge lead, and he's the only car out there now with Imes going a lap down. He could pop that car into engine map 8, slow it up enough that these drivers can catch up to him, and he'd have drafting partners.
I think you want to hold the lead as long as you can. Keep as few cars around you as possible for as long as possible. The more cars you have around you at any given time, the more chance there is to be crashed.
That is also true.
Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
By getting crashed. I do want to take a look quickly at Hunter Terpstra, Aaron Poplin, and Brian Zamora. They also have JT Tinker and Wyatt Imes in this little group. So Imes is actually leading these guys. Terpstra's right behind him, then Poplin, then Zamora, then Tinker at the back end. Poplin's sticking out a line here to go past Hunter Terpstra and Wyatt Imes. It almost worked.
Still side by side though, going through turn number 4. Taking a look 3 wide, maybe, no, back to single. Everyone falling back in line. This 5-car pack, now single file once again.
And there was a pit stop there for Fozzie Fazzillo. He comes into his box. Will be service for car number 6. Seth Straddle, a move here on Matthew Byers. That's good for second at the time being.
There's one car ducking into the pit lane. That's Brianna Lavin.
Cam Patterson as well from the race lead.
Things switching up a little bit.
So pole sitter Cam Patterson comes in for service. This should be quick, down and away. And right about now should pull away. Yep, 9 seconds. A little bit longer of a stop, but he's got plenty of time. That, as long as it took for that stop, is about the gap he had coming into the pit lane anyways. So now you take a look at Stridle and Byers. Stridle should come in this lap or the next. And these guys now are plenty good on fuel to go to the end of the race. And they can even go another lap or two, as you're seeing. As now Poplin and Zamara come in for service. There goes Brianna Lavin. Really, the domino that needs to fall is these two.
Yeah, because now they're going to put Brianna 1 lap down. Well, the one thing that you don't want to see right now, a caution.
Well, some do, some don't. I mean, if you're Byers and Stridle, you would love a yellow right now. Well, maybe not Stridle. He's real close to run out of fuel. He's got 1-2 laps to go. Although he did just save, I think, for that entire run. I don't know. You might still want to caution if you're these two, because it would put a bunch of the field lap down, really reduce the races, the drivers you've got to race, and will change this race in your favor, for sure. Lavin gonna go by Byers, and look now at Stridle. That's new tires for you.
Trying to get a lap back now. Save trouble. Side by side on the front stretch going into 1.
That's Zamara on Poplin. That is position number 7 now.
1 car in the pit lane.
Seth Stridle comes in for service. This should be, well, this will be down and away relatively quickly. The white IM situation, man, that is one of the bigger ones of the day. To get that pit penalty and drop now to a lap down and change. He's back here with JT Tinker, who's now 3 laps down.
Zamara and Poplin should be able to get their laps back. Well, look at that. Zamara goes fastest on lap 92 here. Should be able to get their laps back as the leaders hit pit road. So it should promote Wyatt Imes, the first car a lap down. However, like we said, no waiver, no free passes, no lucky dogs. So he's got to either get it back the hard way or get the wave around. But I think being the first one lap down should help him a ton when he goes to try and get a wave around.
And Zach, the big story at this point is going to be the gap now from Cam Patterson, who was the leader at time of caution, or time of pit stop rather, not time of caution, was the leader at time of pit stop. What's the gap from him to the next car who's pitted?
10 seconds.
10.5 seconds. You don't see this every day in an IndyCar race.
You do not, especially in the real life Indy 500.
And
They're
this
all
comes
still very tight together.
This comes down to a few different things. Spencer Torrance with the move from Cody Moore. Cody Moore went to the inside, knocked off the left front wing. Then getting kicked from the race. Then Cody Moore having to back out and race control from that point on. And then the pit penalty for Wyatt Imes. Put those things together, and you've isolated this 38 car on his own for the race lead with little to no challenge. He's got Poplin a lap down. He's got Zamara just out front. So even once Lavin, or even once Byers pits and kind of resets who's where, this is just one bizarre situation. Poplin actually goes to the inside of Patterson there, making a move.
Yep, and that puts both of them back on the lead lap, if I'm not mistaken.
Zamara and Poplin, yes.
I would promote Terpstra to the first car 1 lap down, who has gotten by Imes. I actually did not see that. He passed Wyatt Imes to take that spot away.
Much newer tires. Terpstra just pitted. Well, Matthew Myers will come in for service. And this will officially wrap up our pit run. 33 laps for Byers on the racetrack. 34, actually, when he comes right there across the yard of bricks. So 34 laps for Matthew Byers. That is a big number. But is that going to do anything for him in the long run? I don't think. I don't think so. There goes Patterson to take the race lead back away.
Now it's going to be that much bigger of a gap. However, the gap is getting a little smaller. Stridle has worked down about half a second. You know what? Never mind. No, I'm looking at the ticker wrong. He still has worked down a bit of a half a second off of Patterson.
Well, what that was Poplin going by.
Ah, yes.
A lap and a half ago. I don't think the extra laps for Myers is going to do anything other than put him in position should we get a caution in one of those laps where he is staying out and running those extra laps. That would benefit him. Otherwise, I'm not sure it's going to do a whole lot.
Oh, just you wait. I'll do the fuel math here. The next pit stop we have.
Well, they can run about 30 to 34 laps, right? I mean, if Myers is doing 34, that opens up our window a little more. So again, working the race in reverse, you want to pit around 170. Before that, you want to pit around 140. Before that, you want to pit around 110.
If I'm doing my math correctly.
Myers would need to save 15 laps.
Yes. He would pit around 80, 85. So about 20 to 15 laps to go. Yeah, math checks out. Save about 15 laps as you see all the different strategies here today. So many to go through.
Because if he goes... Like from here is how many stop race? 110, 3 stop race. For Byers, he just pitted 2 laps ago. He can go 32 more laps, so he can go to 130. Ooh, that's close. Wait a minute. So if he can go to 130, and then he can go theoretically to 164, and theoretically then to 198. That's awfully close, as Fozzie Fazzillo will go by Seth Stridle on camera. Poplin has gone back a lap down to Cam Patterson, our race leader. That is awfully close, and I think you have to weigh your options here if you're Byers. I think you have to try and save that extra lap or two. You're already running 34 laps. Save 1 more lap each time, and maybe.
It's going to be close.
That is something. I did not think it was going to have anything to it. If he can save more, he might have something.
The math is there. It just all remains to be seen right now. Patterson still holds a commanding lead over pretty much the entire field right now. The closest car to him, 9.7 seconds back.
Well, that is halfway. Half of this race complete. We still have 2 cars who have not used a fast repair, those being Seth Stridle and Aaron Poplin. Cam Patterson's used 1. Fozzie Fazzillo's used 2. Matthew Byers has used 1, as has Brianna Lavin. Brian Zamara's used both. What's interesting is the 3 cars out of this race have not used all their fast repairs, and there it is. Caution's out. JT Tinker. He has used 1 of his repairs. Watch out! That's Byers!
That was close. Everyone's still coming through at full speed, and look at how skewed that car is. He's crab walking.
Byers is going to have to take some repairs. He got the wall pretty good. That's one way to do it.
Most certainly.
Dirt tracking. Looks like a sprint car. Let's see what happened here. JT Tinker was running a handful of laps down. This is with Wyatt Imes. Hopefully there's no damage to that 4 car or the 3 behind him on Terpstra. They were racing. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, big snap right there. Very, very loose. And oh my goodness, he flipped over.
Hang on. I had looked at timing and scoring for a half second, right whenever it happens here. Okay, so Tinker ran flat in the wall on the straightaway, and that put Imes to the inside, and then I don't know if there was damage to the 93 as a result of that, but he goes around, up and over, and then something that you can't do, he starts to pull forward as cars are coming. You can't. You got to be more heads up than that.
On-track awareness is a big, big thing there.
Let's ride on board with the 4. This will be Wyatt Imes. Out of the great state of Texas, watch this on board. Tinker just in the wall all of a sudden. I think that might have, that damaged the right front wing of the 4 car. And then he's just around in the background. Now, for Byers, on the other hand, here he comes around turn 3. Slowing down, sees a car to the inside, goes high, and that car started driving towards him. That is why you have to wait. You have to wait for a gap if you're going to pull up like that. Seth Stridle will stay out. I'm not sure about that. I would have pitted, for sure. I think from here you can... Well, we know. You can cut a pit stop from here. Well, you want to work this race in reverse. Pitting under this yellow, you would then pit at about 136. And then 170. And be good to the end. So...
2 stopping from here?
Yeah, this is a 2-stop race. If Stridle stays out, this becomes very much a 3-stop... Well, it stays a 3-stop race for him. He's got to pit.
I'm not sure what the strategy is, but I'm sure he has a plan. But if he does, I'm not seeing it right now.
Well, let's grab a driver who is trying to get back on the lead lap here, Hunter Terpstra. Hunter, you're about to get the wave round, it looks like, behind Wyatt and Aaron. How's the car feel?
The car is good. I was working on this setup for a long time yesterday. I just got involved in those 2 early wrecks, so I've just been having to buy my time and try and work my way forward. I feel like my car gets really good after about a 10-lap run. It feels pretty good in traffic. I don't have to lift as much as some of the other people, so I like it if I can get up there at the end.
Yeah, feeling good in traffic is a big part of this race in Indianapolis. Getting back on the lead lap here is a big deal. The pit strategy now for you gets a little more murky. Do you have a plan?
Before I did, I don't anymore. I thought I could make it on some people I thought still might have needed 4. Now I don't, no idea.
Fair enough. I appreciate the honesty. Hunter, best of luck. Actually, real quick, how close was that last crash?
Oh, I thought I was done. I thought I was going right into him. Last time someone wrecked in front of me like that, I went head on into the wall and killed my right front and started crab walking, so I figured I was going to be like that again and have my race end, but I got lucky. He went up instead of down, so I guessed right.
There you go, Hunter Terpstra. Good to talk to you, and best of luck here.
Thank you, guys.
Seth Stridle going to lead us to the green flag in just a couple of moments. We are now on the far side of lap 100. We've had a reset. That puts Cam Patterson now 3rd position after leading so much of this race and having a 10-second lead. Everything has changed to Indianapolis. Let's give it another go. Stridle takes us green flag at Indy one more time. And into turn 1, Stridle with now a half-second lead through the first corner. Fazillo 2nd, and here comes Cam Patterson. Zach, he's got to find a way back by.
Yeah, definitely be able to get those positions back. There goes the snaking down the back straightaway. Cam Patterson with the run, looking to the outside. He's going to be able to take it going into 3. Yes, he's going to power around the outside. Get clear.
Whoa, the wall hard! Lavin got the wall hard right there. That's likely going to be a pit stop. And she's used both fast repairs.
And she's staying on the racetrack, too.
I think that was an accidental fast repair for her. I don't think she needed... I don't think she had used both before that pit stop. I think she used that last one as an accident. If so, Brianna might be out of this race real quick. The car seems okay for now.
Any alignment out of place here? I'm not sure.
Oh, it's tight. She might be able to keep driving, but it's going to be less than ideal for sure. Here we go for the race lead.
Down the front straightaway, Stridle and Patterson. No run there going into one. They're going to stay single file. They've got a gap back to Brasillo. So maybe take it easy a little bit, work that gap a little more, and then start thinking about going for the loop.
Lavin seems okay in the back, but Patterson and Stridle up front. Oh, how interesting this race has become. And if we get a caution sometime in the next 10 laps, it would keep Imes and Terpstra in this race. Even if not, they could actually make it to the end from here. They would be on the same strategy as Stridle. So they're not out of it. We have 9 cars back in this race in Indianapolis all of a sudden. Everything has gotten so much more interesting, and Patterson here, I think, is just trying to save fuel. In the wall, that was Byers.
That's another car in the wall. Everyone's just starting to push tight from what it looks like. Nobody can really keep their car down on the bottom.
Look at that track temp, 114 degrees now on track. Nearly 80 in the air. And clear skies. Well, we have definitely had some clouds. I wouldn't say clear skies.
No rain, though. No rain for these Indy cars just yet on the iRacing service.
Well, we wouldn't want that in Indianapolis anyways. We would not want that on the oval. Working up to 90 laps to go. Were you about to say you do want rain on the oval?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, it would play in and have a nice cool effect on, you know, if a race would have to be ended early, or, you know, if you go over onto the NASCAR side, a lot of the short tracks are allowing rain tires. I think it would still be really, really cool. And even then, iRacing has already said there are a few cars that will be getting rain enabled in this next season update that is coming next week at the time of this broadcast. So there's a few cars that are going to get rain enabled, and one of them being the Global Mazda MX-5.
Can't wait. Meanwhile, Brian Zamara, I want to highlight this guy. No fast repairs left. I believe he was the first one to have no fast repairs in this race. Still in it, though, with 110 now complete this next time by. 90 to go. This is the highest he's been all race. 5th position. Did he get 4th?
Potentially. As you can see, he's going down the front really. That's a big, big run. He backed out, though. You can see as he backed off just a little bit, stayed in line. I think he's got just drafting and staying in line in mind, but that was a big back off into one and a little tap to the wall through the short shoot.
Up front, Cam Patterson still just in tow. We're back in the kind of chess match at 230 miles per hour. Where is this chess match going to, where's the table going to get flipped, right? I mean, where are things going to change? Now, these guys, they want to go to about, what did we say, lap 134? Thereabouts, something like that.
Just about.
Yeah, 133-ish. It's going to be close.
I think the latest we see anybody would be 136? No. That was different strategy. I'm gonna leave the math here. Math is not my strong suit.
I do think you're looking at about 134. That takes you to 168, which would take you to the end. You could do 133, which take you to 167 or so. Brian Zamara, meanwhile, just moved into 4th place. Just got by Brianna Lavin. So a fight here, 4th and 5th rather. Byers not so far back. That yellow car though is JT Tinker, who's a lap down. And there we go. Lavin back to the inside. We thought that car would be hurt. Apparently not.
She's still moving. I'm honestly quite surprised because usually when you see a car take that big of a hit, especially in the car here in Indianapolis, the right front tends to bend in. We see Zamara going back by, and everyone wants to go with Zamara now. Back falling in line though.
Yeah, this is where the fight really is for the entire field. Wyatt Imes back here, Hunter Terpstra, Matthew Byers, Aaron Poplin. This is where these guys are in a line. The pack is back here. It's Lavin now. Looks up at Zamara again.
Clears them going into 3. Back up into the 4th place position.
Ozzy Fazzillo's on his own. Otherwise, you got the 2 leading, and you got this pack of 7. Oh, Byers to the pit lane. He's apparently found his fuel number, and he is going to make this a 3-stop race still.
Well,
I'm really surprised by that.
Oh, yeah. Wait, no. Hold on. If we're going off of a 30-lap window, 115 would go to 145.
Well, he's run 34.
175.
He's run 34.
Well, still, that would put him in his window. He could still 2-stop this race, because even if he did 30 laps, it would put him 145, 175, and then 25 to the end.
Yeah, that's 2-stop from here, though. So that's 3-stop from the last caution, which is what I was talking about. So he must have been trying to hit the 2-stop strategy from that last yellow. Didn't hit the number he was looking for already. Decided to go ahead and come in now that the window's open. I'm surprised by that, as there go our leaders. So he will go 1 lap down. He was the one that's been running the longest on fuel, so if he didn't like his fuel number, that's a little concerning. Then again, he also could have just pitted from damage. We don't know. He did hit the wall a couple times.
A couple drivers did hit the wall a couple times.
Yeah. Big question marks right now. Well, while these guys run under green, let's ride on board with Patterson and take a look at what's upcoming for us at Pit Stop TV. We've done so already. Let's do so again, Zach. Next up, Monday night, May 27th, Memorial Day. Memorial Day edition of the Icon Cup Series. We head out to Charlotte Motor Speedway. In fact, our next 2 broadcasts are from America's Home for Racing. We go there for the Icon Cup Series for 240 laps on Monday evening. Going to be a long one. Certainly not some 600 miles, but still a lengthier race. And then Tuesday is the Victory Fuel 125, brought to you by Regal Promotions. And it actually might be Rigel. I'm going to have to figure out real quick. I just thought about it because I before E except after C, all that good stuff. Like, sometimes EI makes an I sound, sometimes it makes an E sound, I don't know. I'm going to go with Rigel Productions now that I'm thinking about it. Regardless, going to have an event of 84 laps at Charlotte with Xfinity cars, as you see there. Kind of an all-star length, or all-star format almost, and it should be a lot of fun on May 28th, and then it'll be June 2nd that we head out to Gateway with the Icon Cup Series and those NASCAR Cup Series cars. That should be a lot of fun. Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. From there, Zach, we've got a new series that is coming to Pit Stop TV very, very soon, as Wyatt Imes will duck into the pit lane after 34 laps of racing. The XCal Web Shop Series is coming to Pit Stop TV beginning June 4th. And I say beginning June 4th, that'll be the first broadcast they have with us. However, it will not be, like, we won't have June 11th and so on and so forth. We'll have June 4th and then take a break over the summer. They'll go back to their usual broadcasting organizations, and then we'll pick back up later this year in August. I believe August 13th will be the first race we have with them in a regular format. So watch out for that. Street Stock Racing with the XCal Web Shop Pro Series. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, not to mention the new Street Stock that's coming to the iRacing service. So a lot of different variants now.
2 of them. Yeah, we're going to... So what iRacing has said they're doing is adding 2 new street stocks that will have no competitive advantage over the existing street stock. They're purely body options that emulate a a Chevrolet Monte Carlo and a a Ford Thunderbird, much like the 1987 NASCAR Cup Series cars, and those bodies were scanned off of cars that run in the Star Tour, which recently went to Lonesome Pine Motorsports Park, and I believe this weekend might be at Tri-County with the Cars Tour. But the Star Tour, headed up by Abu Carlisle, has been a street stock series going all over the Southeast, the Star Super Stocks. And I had the pleasure of calling their event with Pit Road TV and Southeast Super Trucks at Lonesome Pine Motorsport Park not so long ago. They had a hell of a race for the lead for laps on laps, and then ended up having a big crash with Marlon Yoder and Jeff Sparks. And Marlon Yoder was recently, very recently, on the Dale Jr. download. So a lot of connections throughout this racing world. For example, you've got us with this Donut Box 5150 Indianapolis 500 with a connection all the way out somehow to the Dale Jr. download. Everything is so intertwined in racing, all because we're talking about some street stocks that are coming to the iRacing.com sim soon. It's crazy how it all works out.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many great ways that iRacing is able to engage with all these different platforms.
Here we go, pit stop for Stridle.
Taking it to the pit lane just after the 300-mile mark. Just under 200 miles left of racing here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and the leader is finally taking it to the pit lane. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Stridle keeps throwing me off because he is listed as car number 15, but he is running a scheme that says number 12, so it has completely kept throwing me off this entire race because I keep thinking that he's Brianna Lavin, who is the number 12.
Well, he comes in, and recall, he pitted early. And did not pit under that caution flag, so he has to come in for service now, and from here it's pretty well straightforward for him. He's got to pit again around lap 155 and then pit again around lap 187 or so, almost 190. So he's got 2 pit stops left to make, as will Aaron Poplin, who has just left the pit lane.
Now, these drivers that are pitting now, I think, are a lot better set up in case we have the green-white checkered finish, but actually, no, we don't have any green-white checkers.
Correct. That's why Indianapolis comes down to fuel so often, and you have to talk about these fuel runs that are 30 laps or so, because you do not have extra time. You do not have overtime here in Indianapolis or in the IndyCar series at all. So, emulating that kind of race, this kind of race rather, you have to take that into consideration, which is why we've been talking about working this race in reverse as if it's an endurance race on road, right? Where you want to pit an hour, 2 hours, figure out an hour to go in the race, 2 hours to go in the race, so on, like from the end of the race to the start. Work the race in reverse. In this case, if this race were to go green, you would want to make sure you're set up from lap 170. Also make sure you're set up from lap 140, lap 110, lap 80, so on, like we've been doing. Now that we had that caution completely spoil this thing, it's kind of changed who is pitting when. I mean, Terpstra just came in where he had to stay out and take the wave around with Wyatt Imes, so he had to come in now after 33 laps of running. We'll get service and head back out. The leaders have been on track now for 23 laps. They can go another 10 or so, which has them just around that window to make this a 2-stop race. Now that I just had my fuel strategy monologue.
Brain trying to do brain things to track called fuel strategies.
Well, here's Brian Zamaro. We've been told that he is the defending winner of this race.
He's doing a pretty good job holding it in 4th place position right now.
Coming up on Hunter Terpstra, who has just came out of the pit lane. Just exited, giving some room to these guys. Just getting ahead there of Brian Zamora, but will now let that 53 car go on by. And Poplin now be able to race Terpstra. That'll be for the 8th position, 1 lap down. And that caution that Imes and Terpstra needed, it never came out.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for them. They're going to be stuck in that 1 lap down position for a little while. I'm sure Byers and Imes will get their laps back as the racing goes on. Patterson has yet to take it to the pit lane.
Yeah, I mean,
Zillow, I
the
don't
top
think
4 have yet to pit, so they should still get their laps back, but they're going to be caught in the back of the field.
It's unfortunate circumstances right now. And
Here's your race leader, though.
Byers right behind him, so Byers might actually be able to get his lap back relatively quickly. Whether
he's
it be
already
through the hard
pitted.
way.
Byers is pitted. Patterson has to pit within the next 8.
Right, so either Byers will be able to get past Patterson now, so Patterson can save a little fuel, or he'll just wait until Patterson has to pit, which would probably be the safer option.
Well, it would be, absolutely. If you're Byers, you want to save fuel from Patterson. If you're Patterson, you want to save fuel from Byers. But Byers will not let that happen if he's smart about it. Coming up to 70 laps to go, we're going to go pit stop TV side by side one more time. Maybe one more later on, but we'll see how the race goes. Regardless, 70 laps to go. Not this time by, the next time by. So plenty of racing left to Indianapolis. We'll be right back to you. Welcome back to the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It happens quick. Pit stops very, very quickly here, Indy. And Patterson down and away. He will take service and get back on the racetrack with what will be a healthy race lead, it looks like. Zamara has stayed out. He will be the final car to pit, it looks like, other than JT Tinker. So that 53 car kind of holds the key to the rest of this race. He's going to stay out to 134. Oh boy. Zach, he's the defending winner. That's the lap he wants to hit.
I don't know about it, Andrew. I really don't. I'm trying to kind of think how the strategy is going to work for him, but I don't know how well it's going to go in his favor.
For Zamora?
I'm probably not paying fully attention to it as well.
For Zamora, he's going to be in perfect contention here. He's going to eliminate a pit stop at this rate.
Then I'm not doing correct math, which is probably normal for me. The math is not mathing for me at the moment.
So he's going to get to 136 here. You can run about 34. He's still got a couple laps in the tank. He's at lap 32 of his run, so he can run a couple more. That'll be at a 138. From there, he can get inside of 170.
Yeah, eliminated pit stop, you're right.
He's in a perfect spot versus a bunch of others that simply pitted a bit earlier.
I don't know why, but my brain just goes back to the old style of what the IndyCar was, which was you could only run about 30 laps on a field run, 32 if you really stretched it. So that's
engine maps,
what
like you were saying earlier.
mind.
Engine maps and lifting.
What's my on my bike?
Well, Zamara's in really good company right now. He's got 17 seconds back to the next competition. He's got to pit this lap or the next.
Stretch it as far as you can. Keep as much fuel in the tank as possible. Yeah, run one more time. Hit next time by. Make it stop a little longer. However, what he could do is if he's inside the window by eliminating the pit stop, he could short pit by a couple of laps to shorten his stop a little bit and make it a little bit faster than everybody else.
It's not going to change much because of tires.
Ooh, who was that in front of him right there that just smacked the wall? On the straightaway. That would be Terpstra.
Well, Terpstra's the blue car, yeah.
Yeah, he just hit the wall on the straightaway in front of our leader.
And Zamara comes in for fuel.
We look into the foreground to see where Patterson is. Only 7 seconds back now, closing quickly. New race leader here at Indianapolis.
Cam Patterson goes by, lap 139. Will take the race lead away and have Seth Stridle in tow. Zamara will blend back in here somewhere behind Wyatt Imes and even behind Brianna Lavin, it looks like. But he's in the best position as far as fuel. Now, Imes pitted some 20 laps ago. The only other driver that's close is going to be Cam Patterson. Seth Stridle is definitely going to have 2 more stops from this point. Patterson is close to eliminating a stop. He's going to have to run, what did we say, 168? So 28 more laps. It'll be very, very close for Cam Patterson, but if he can get there, that would keep Zamara from winning this race. I mean, they're on very different parts of the racetrack right now. In fact, about a half a track away from each other. There is Patterson from the blimp. He's in turn 4. Zamara, turn 2. They are opposite corners of the racetrack currently.
Differing strategies. That's just the way it goes. You'll see it all over the place in any racing series, and it creates a lot of storylines, creates a lot of headlines. But now you've got Patterson leading the race, only about half a second in front of Stridle. You've got Zamara, who is all by himself. The next car behind him is about 2 seconds back. That's Lavin. And then you've got the next car in front of him, just over 10 seconds up the road. That's Imes. So Patterson, you said that Zamora is going to eliminate a stop here, and he's put himself nearly perfect. His straddle gets very loose coming through turn number 4. But Patterson has the track position, and he's got the car. Not to mention, he's got the strategy that could still potentially win him this race, because even if Zamora is cutting out a pit stop, Patterson has almost gotten the delta to where that pit stop wouldn't even matter. He's almost got a full lap ahead of him, maybe minus about 20 seconds.
Well, as I was going back to previously, Patterson's about a lap away from being on that same strategy. He just pitted a bit sooner this time. He's just got a little more work to do, and Zamora is certainly more to the good. The next drivers that would be close to that strategy would be Fozzie Fazzillo in 3rd and Brianna Lavin in 7th. So there's potentially 4 drivers that can do this 2-stop strategy from that last caution we had around lap 120. Excuse me. The rest of these guys on the racetrack, if you're Seth Stridle, Matthew Byers, Wyatt Imes, Hunter Terpstra, Aaron Poplin, they cannot do that same strategy. They will have an extra pit stop and likely be a lap down if this race goes green to the end. We're looking at 4 cars right now. 4. Fozzie Fazzillo and Brianna Lavin are a little short right now. They've got to do some big-time saving over this run, but your race leader, Cam Patterson, is only about a lap off of it to where he would be exact to the end of this race, have just enough fuel to finish. Meanwhile, Zamara's got plenty of fuel.
And then they just got to make sure they keep the tires underneath them right now. Don't make any too aggressive moves at the moment. You can see the cloud covers coming in a little bit on the turn 2 side of the speedway. But in reality, Andrew, the track temp has actually gone up. And these drivers are still dealing with a slick racetrack. They've got to make sure that they're working with the tires. Don't, like you said, don't make any too aggressive moves right now.
Track temp has stayed about steady since we last checked it, but the air temp has definitely gone up, but it's all up about 10 degrees track temp since the race started, and I don't know, 3 degrees since they're in the air. I'll get there eventually. About 3 degrees in the air, 10 degrees in the track. That's what I was trying to get to. Well, if you're watching, let us know who you're pulling for potentially. Let us know where you're watching from. See plenty of you over on YouTube. I'd like to get to know you guys as we work lap 145 of 200, nearing 50 to go. Want to give a big nod to our partners as well with the channel. Whiplash SimCam's ATVO and CC's Business, and there's a few different leagues that are going into this event. Of course, Donut Box Racing League, 5150 Racing League, and there were a couple of other associated groups that were helping support this event. Pit stop, Wyatt Imes.
Now, here we go again with the strategy. Wyatt Imes. Well, Wyatt pitted around 115, right?
Yeah, he pitted it before that caution. He had to stay out and get the wave around, which is why he's so far off from the rest. And along with him will be Terpstra. Terpstra will pit, and Byers just came in.
Well, that's the 3-lap strategy, or the 3-stop strategy that I was talking about. 115 to 145, 145 to 175.
Right, it was 2 stop after the last stop they made.
Right.
Which is a 3 stop since the caution.
Right.
Zamora, though, is going to be on a 2 stop from the caution. Along with them will be Patterson. Well, Patterson, Zamora, and it looks like... Oh, hang on. Fozzie Fazzillo in 3rd still. Brianna Lavin, who's now 5th, is in contention for it. Fazzillo and Lavin are going to be close. They Right now, they're set up to go to about lap 167. I personally would feel more comfortable at 168, but you can do it from 167. Yeah, they're going to be at 166, 167, so I think they're in range. I think this is a 4-car race. The 38, the 6, the 53, and the 12. Remember those numbers. So right now, 1st, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Which is interesting, Zach, because really the only race is, well, of that, the only battle is 4th and 5th right now. Zamara and Lavin are close to each other. They're following JT Tinker.
Yeah, you see them dipping below that white line. That's one thing that really, really concerns me. I don't like seeing these guys dipping those tires below the white line so late in the race, especially on old tires. It can get incredibly slick down there as we see Brianna looking to make a move, but she's going to stay in line. It gets so concerning when you dip those tires onto that white line. We've seen it all the time during things like real Indy 500 qualifying or even the real Indy 500. When they dip the tires below the white line, it just gets away from them, they get loose, and it's so hard to control the car sometimes. Brianna looking again, just backing out, staying in line. I respect it. Holding on to the fuel best you can as Patterson's coming across the line soon here to take 50 laps to go. 150 laps down, Andrew. 150 miles to go.
How long did that math take?
Don't talk to me about it. Took me a second.
I think it's actually 125 miles to go.
Ah, you ruined my moment with my bad math.
It was a good one. It was a good one. We'll let it stand. But, you know, if we were at the iRacing Super Speedway, it would have stood. As, here we go. That could be a pass for the race win. Brianna Lavin over Brian Zamara. Zamara has worked some excellent fuel strategy, but that move right there could influence who wins this race if for some reason something happens to Patterson and Fazzillo. I think right now that's only a pass for 3rd, but you never know.
Gotta keep your wits about you. That's the only thing. That's all you can do.
Seth Stridle is doing the pit lane at about 3 more laps. I think he has taken notice of the fuel situation. He has backed off significantly. Unfortunately, there's nothing he can do at this point, and yep, here we go, into the pit lane.
Just keeping up with the strategy best you can at this point. You know you're off cycle, you know what you're doing is a little different from the others, but you gotta do what's best for you, you gotta try.
Talked earlier about some different events we have coming up at Pit Stop TV. Something, a track that's near and dear to IndyCar fans would also include the Milwaukee Mile. And we'll be headed there soon, not with IndyCars, but rather with super late models. The SARA, the SARA or Sarah 1-8 Racing Media National Tour is headed out to the Milwaukee Mile in just a couple of weeks. I believe that'll be Thursday, June 13th. Sounds right to me. So
it's not Friday the 13th.
Yeah. It'll be a Thursday, thankfully. Keep an eye out for that on our social media channels. We have a lot of really cool racetracks coming up. We talked about the XCal debut on Pit Stop TV. They'll be going to the Chicago Street Course with street stocks. How cool is that? As Seth Stridle merges right in front of our race leader. We'll have street stocks on a street course. I think that just makes sense to me anyway. As weird as that might sound. But when XCal comes to Pit Stop TV, I think that'll be a big day. And then we have the North American Racing League coming back to Pit Stop TV very, very soon. So road racing, GT3 racing, back on the way. And they're excited to get back to racing.
I would hope they are. They always put on a great show.
It's been a while. It's been since February, I believe, since they raced last. Whenever we picked up the Sarah Super Series on Thursdays was right when they ended, so I believe it was just the beginning of February there when they had their last race. So it has been a while. As here comes Aaron Poplin to the pit lane. Talked to him earlier on. The long 60-mile-per-hour trip down to his pit box. Fozzie Fazzillo is second place and shaping up to finish there as he's 10 seconds off of our race leader. They need a caution. These guys just need a caution.
You know, that reminds me of an old joke that I used to hear from time to time when I used to be around the racetrack as a kid. Do you know what Jeff Burton's favorite color is?
I'm scared to answer.
Caution flag yellow.
I'm not sure I follow.
I didn't really follow it either. I just know that it was a joke people like to say when it came to wanting the caution to come out. I still don't understand the complexity of the joke.
I think it would be out of context, because right now, Fozzie Fazzillo's favorite color would be caution flag yellow. He would love to see one and punch this race back up. But simultaneously, Cam Patterson's favorite color currently would have to be green flag green. Or starting flag green.
I think if there's a better way to say that. Probably not. Who knows? But Zillow's still only about, I say only, but he's 10 and a half, just over 10 and a half seconds off Patterson up there in 38, still leading this race. We're rolling up on lap 160, Andy. That puts us in our final 100 miles to go. These guys have got to be tired. I know it's just a virtual race. I know they're just probably sitting at home, sitting in their chairs or in their sim rigs, but they have to be tired.
Well, when you boil it down, that's what a racing driver is doing, right? Or so they say, just sitting in a car, right, doing some driving. It's so much more than that, even on a sim level. It's so much more than just sitting in a car and pressing a pedal and turning a wheel. But I think a lot of naysayers initially even think that you aren't even doing that you're just sitting there using a controller to play iRacing. And while some do that, it's so much more. And the mental fatigue is the biggest thing, especially in sim racing. There's still some physical fatigue, especially some more physical tracks, but here it really just comes down to that mental focus. And if anything, maybe some leg strength, some leg fatigue for sure as the race goes on. But it's coming down to a fuel mileage race.
Talking about leg fatigue, we've been sitting here broadcasting for just about 3 hours. My legs are getting tired, just not getting any blood pumping.
Oh, I could go for a 600 after this. Are you kidding me?
Crazy. You're actually crazy.
Yeah. I miss doing those endurance races. The 24 hours of Daytona, 12 hours of Sebring, Petit Le Mans.
You'll catch me doing the 6 hours from the Glen. That's coming up here in actually 2 weeks' time, if I'm not mistaken.
So your top four as they run are the four that are racing for the win. Cam Patterson, Fozzie Fazzillo, Brianna Lavin, and Brian Zamara. The problem with that, Zach, is the difference in lap time. Cam Patterson is out of turn 4. Brian Zamara and Brianna Lavin just crossed the start and finish line. I'm not sure how they've gotten sorted so far back to where they are nearly a lap down. They have the fuel mileage right, but they are nearly 1 lap behind the race leader. Fazzillo, nearly 11 seconds back. They have the fuel strategy, but they are just so far off today. Cam Patterson, I think, is going to walk away with this unless we get a yellow.
You're not wrong. I picked him to win earlier. He's got a commanding lead right now.
Oh, and this is way too early.
Oh, no.
28 laps? This is way too early for Brianna Lavin to pit. She needed to run at least 4 more.
That's going to be rough. That's going to be tough for her.
That's the whole race gone. Patterson's in. He couldn't do it. Fazillo's in. He couldn't do it.
So we still got one more pit stop for just about all of these drivers then.
They've still got to pit again. And at this point, do they come in for fuel only when that happens?
That throws caution to the wind. Now, ATVO apparently tells you how many fast repairs they've taken. Does it tell you how many tire sets they all have left?
Well, we can theorize. Byers pitted 10 times. So Byers has to pit again. He may not have a set to bolt on. He may. I'm not sure. Zamora has pitted 9 times. I would have to imagine that he's got another set to bolt on, considering how this has worked out. It's getting very close. I'm glad you mentioned that. I don't know. Doesn't tell us exactly how many sets they've taken. That would be helpful. But it tells us how many times they've pitted. Patterson's in the clear there, but Zamora, who is now right behind him, he's now in the catbird seat. I really thought Patterson had this race in the bag. I really thought they had the fuel number.
Hey, he still might have this race in the bag.
I think Zamora does.
know.
I think Zamora does. Patterson's washed at this point. I mean, and that brings Stridle back into the race. He's only 6 seconds back. Byers even. Imes. But I think Zamara's got this. I really do. Right behind Lavin and Terpstra, though. Patterson goes by. Lavin is slow. That holds up Zamora. Fozzie Vazillo, meanwhile, pulls up on Matthew Byers. New tires in the 6 car. He would like to go by. But Brian Zamora, maybe our favorite once again.
Your favorite, I'm still going with Patterson.
It's the fuel, man. He's only run 26 now, 27 laps. All he's got to do is run 2 more and he's in range. 3 or 4 would be perfect. And to think he's only led 5 laps of this race, and they may only lead 2 or 3 to the end after these guys pit their final time. That's all we're talking about, is 5 or less laps for those guys, how far off they are.
That's strategy for you. Everyone's just seeing what they can get, and I'm still shocked like you are, Andrew. I thought Patterson and Lavin were going to be able to make it all the way with their strategy, but it doesn't seem that way now.
They must know the strategy play, right? I mean, I can't imagine they wouldn't, as Terpstra and Patterson are starting to get a little bit happy up there.
You know what would flip this all on its head?
A caution.
A caution.
I hope we don't get one. Big move there. That's Lavin to the inside of Terpstra. Terpstra, being a lap down, is racing with Lavin currently. Zamora there is following Patterson, who is currently the race leader. Byers still racing with Fazillo. Wyatt Imes is not far back of there. Of course, he had that pit penalty earlier. I think he was in a pretty fantastic position until that pit penalty, and I think I absolutely could have raced for this win. 21 laps led, I think, tells some of the story.
Definitely does.
Meanwhile, he gets to follow this fight.
I think he's sitting in line right now. And he's still, even after that pit penalty, or no, White Imes is the one that got the pit penalty. Speeding on entry.
That'd be correct.
Okay. Threw me for a loop there. White Imes still in it. So is Byers. Everyone, realistically, Andrew, everyone still has a shot at trying to take this win away.
Well, yes and no. if there's a caution, things are different, but as they stand, if this race goes green, this is Zamara's in the bag. He's about to hit 31 to go. This is the 30th lap he's run, as now JT Tinker pits. He's in range to go to the end despite being 3 laps down. All Zamara has to do is complete the laps at this point.
Long and lap. That's all you gotta do.
He's got to know, right? I mean, these guys all have to know. They must.
Some way, shape, or form.
Zamara could pit here, or he can keep running for insurance. I think absolutely stay on the racetrack as long as you can at this point. No need to make it closer than you need to. If he can run 35 laps again, may as well run those 35. That would take him to 173, 174, somewhere in there.
See, my thing is, everyone still has to make one more stop. Tomorrow's going to be pitting here, and that's going to be his one more stop. And then everybody else has to make a stop after that. So he's going to get separated again. And then everyone should cycle back into where they were.
So you have a point. You have a point. Patterson has run pace. But he's going to be so close. You have a point. You do have a point this time.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
So I guess the question is, well, Patterson's got tires. Zamara's got tires. No, you've got me there.
That's the whole thing that I've been so confused about this entire time.
Patterson putting nearly a lap on those guys was something I hadn't accounted for. You're correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one reason I've been so distracted and probably not even very coherent when it comes to a few things on this broadcast today, because it's just been the thought in the back of my mind. If everyone's running on pace and everyone still has to make one more stop, then how does the strategy work out for Zamara there? Yes, absolutely. He saved the fuel, and he's going to be good on the longer run to get to the end of this race. And if we had a green-white checkered, yes, absolutely, he'd be in the catbird seat. But if everyone is still on pace, then how exactly does it play into his favor still? Because he's going to pit by himself. He's off cycle from everyone. There he goes, heading to the pit lane. He's off cycle. He's going to be by himself. He's going to be out of the draft. So where does it help him with gaining that advantage if everyone is still drafting when they have to then go in for their final stop, not in the next 10 to 15 laps?
It would have worked if he hadn't lost a lap. But he just about lost a lap, Patterson. So he'll now pit here. He's good to the end.
He's got that wheel angled. He's ready to go.
Patterson's got a pit. So the way this race works out, if it cycles from here, Patterson takes the win. It'll be Zamara second, then Stridle, Fazzillo, Byers, and Imes your top 5. Because you're right, everybody does have to pit one more time. I've been very caught up in the idea that Zamara could just do it, that he could stretch it. As Terpstra is now in the pit lane, he'll be good to the end.
There are the leaders coming up on him. Patterson leading Lavin. Keep having that in the back of my mind too. As they're trying to get their laps back. Patterson's just, he's on cruise control right now. He's got a commanding lead over Stridle. Fusillo is still another 11 seconds behind the 15. And there,
Zamara has to block.
He has to. He can't afford to lose it.
He needed to be more aggressive when he was caught up behind Patterson and the rest of the field. He's got to race hard here.
He can't be holding off in the engine maps. He's got to go full throttle all the way. Take whatever he can get. Patterson goes on by. Zamara now in line. First car 1 lap down. Only the top 5 on the lead lap. But I think Imes might be in pit road because he is quickly losing time to our leader.
He is. Yeah, he's in the pits, taking his final stop. Byers should follow within the next lap or so.
Zamora now back on the lead lap, quickly getting by. Does Patterson stay in line, or does he try to trap him a lap down again?
We'll find out. Here goes Patterson, back on by. It would be very convenient for Patterson to get a caution at any point in time here. Oh, yeah, they know it. So they know the situation.
Everything's so up in the air right now. You and I have both been caught up, really, with the differing strategies of the day. Look at Patterson all over, trying to hold on.
Tamara's got those better tires. He can put Patterson in a position that he doesn't want to be in here. And I would.
This is going to get dicey. Zamora now. You would think this is a fight for the lead, but it's a fight to stay on the lead lap.
If I'm Brian Zamora here, I've got to race that 38 car as hard as possible. Put him in as many bad situations as possible here without jeopardizing my own race. Either hold him down, stay on his right where you're in a corner, or, I don't know, a slingshot late into a car, something. I've got to get a 38 away from me.
Only about 21 laps to go.
It's all part of it.
Get back to it here.
Yeah, 21 this time by. You see Lavin, Tinker, and Terpstra across the line.
Fazzillo, I think that was. Popping out of line. No.
That was Tinker.
Tinker. Excuse me. Yellow cars all look the same to me. Even though yellow's my favorite color, I shouldn't say that. Byers is the fastest lap.
Right as we switch to him, he's following Ives, so he is just drafting, and these guys are finally able to open the cars up again. No more fuel saving. Map 1, go to the end. So here we go. Like I said earlier, you want to set yourself up for 180 and race for 20.
Now it's time to really start pushing. Get these guys in a spot where they can start going for this win. I feel like there's still the possibility of being able to save enough to make it to the end. It's out there. I wouldn't call it the most doable strategy. I don't know, honestly.
Now, Patterson would have to save 10 laps. Not 10, 5 laps. Which still is no easier of a task, as one car pits, that's going to be Seth Stridle. We knew he would have to pit again.
Well, Andrew, we're inside 20 to go. Thoughts so far, really, about how this race has unfolded as a whole?
It's been very interesting, that's for sure. I highlighted earlier that if not for a couple of very key moments, this race would be completely different. We might still have Spencer Torrance, and there we go, pit stop for Cam Patterson. Right down 60, he got there. So he'll come in and take service, and this will kind of dictate how the rest of this race goes. But if not for a couple of key moments, this race would be completely different. Might still have Spencer Torrance and Cody Moore on the racetrack. Even Marlo Duncan, if not for that one restart. And this race would be entirely different than it looks now. Here we go, pit stop for Patterson. Fazzillo will keep going. Patterson down and away quickly. He didn't take tires. That is a big move. Yes, he's going to have extra time here, but he didn't take tires. So he's going to have 10 lap older tires. Remember that number. 10 lap older tires than Zamora. Remember that number.
One of know. I don't know if I see it making much of a difference.
We'll see. As soon as he starts taking lap times, we'll find out. He's got, at the time being, 10 seconds on Zamora. 9.
Does it cut his stop down? Well, yeah, actually, no, it does. It cuts it down by about 5 seconds.
4.5 seconds, yeah. So it definitely made a difference there. And I remember I theorized about it. I was like, maybe they take no tires. Sure enough, Patterson did that. I think he'd been fine taking tires. He would have still had 4 seconds back to Zamora. And he would be on new rubber. It's going to be interesting.
Welcome to strategy, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And Zamora is now able to draft off a Stridle. Stridle is pitted. So hang on. We've got ourselves a race for the win. How did Stridle do this? Stridle also took no tires.
Ooh.
So he's in a similar spot. So if these guys all take no tires, Zamora is going to have the best rubber on the racetrack. There's another car in the pit lane. That's Aaron Poplin. Zamora pitted 11 laps ago. Lap 174. These other guys pitted in the late 50s and 60s. So Zamora goes by Stridle. And now the gap ahead to Patterson is 7.9 seconds. That's not tracking just yet. Fazillo is currently the race leader. He's got about 10 more laps before he has to pit. So it actually wouldn't be a bad idea for Fozzie to stay out here as long as possible just in case there's a caution. Everybody would pit for tires at that point.
It seems like what I had referenced prior seems to be what has transpired. Patterson had the extra pace, so he still fell out in line in front of Zamora, and now because he didn't take tires, he's able to keep that advantage over Zamora. Looking at the lap times right now, Zamora last time by ran a 41.33, and Patterson ran a 41.37. So it's not really too much of a difference in terms of lap times right now.
The difference, if anything, will be in about 10 more laps right at the end of this race, which it's probably going to be a little bit too little, a little too late, unless Zamora and Stridle start doing the leapfrog. Because Patterson right now has got no help. Zamora and Stridle just have to get disciplined about this and start leapfrogging, trading the draft back and forth, and they can catch that 38 car if they start now.
They gotta hook up.
Seth Stridle is just sitting back there right now. I don't know if he just can't get there. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe lacking the pace. Caution on the speedway!
There it is. It's Brianna Lavin right up ahead.
No damage from what it looks like. Maybe just a quick spin coming off pit road. We just saw her go a lap down.
And as I said, and yeah, it is a pit exit, just like Cody Moore earlier, although this one brings out a yellow. But just like I said, Fozzie may as well stay out here in case there's a caution.
And it worked in his favor. Now he's going to be able to take some tires.
On board with Brianna Lavin. Driver out of New England. Watch the left side here.
Tag the grass there, I think.
Yep.
Usually when you see a car spin into the grass, one tends to think that they clipped it, and then looking at our drivers right now, she does not have a black flag for an unsafe pit exit. Because the thing that goes into my mind is that if the caution came out, then the iRacing stewards detected that she was on the racing surface. Because usually if you're off the racing surface, the caution will not fly. So if she spun onto the racing surface, that means that she transitioned onto the racetrack before she hit the bled line, meaning she would get an unsafe pit exit. So that just threw me for a whole loop.
Well, regardless of that, we're going to have pit stops. Everybody's going to come in, and this is just going to be a straight-up race to the end.
That
There
allows
you-
Brianna to get on the lead lap.
Seth Stridel's going to stay out. What in the world? Why?
Has he pit already?
Yeah, he took
did.
fuel.
So he's fine, but
This is going to trap Terpstra and Poplin a lap down.
everyone's taking tires, if I'm not mistaken.
Patterson, no. Patterson with no tires. Mazzillo
Nobody's got
took tires. Zamara took tires. They do. I mean, Patterson is, well, no, because Patterson didn't bolt to set on last time. So, before Patterson's last stop, he had only pitted 7 times. So he only could have taken, at max, 7 tires, 7 sets. He didn't take tires the last time. Didn't take tires this time. He's got 2 sets laying in the pit right now. Why would you not take them here?
This is very confusing to me.
Unless you think it's that impossible to pass.
I personally, I would have gone with taking a set of tires there.
Well, let's grab a driver who might be able to shed some light on the situation. It's Brian Zamara, who, for a while there, had the best fuel numbers of the race, and we thought might be able to stretch this, stretch fuel out to the end, and that everything has completely changed. Brian, where is the situation at for you now, and why do you think drivers ahead of you might not have taken tires?
Well, I'm not really sure what their strategies are here. I mean, I had saved enough gas that I was actually running map 1 for that entire final stage. I was good to go. I mean, it looked like I was at least good for a top 2 or 3, but we'll see where we come out. Hopefully we can not wreck here at the end of this thing. That'd be nice. I just want to finish all the laps today.
Yeah, I think you were one of the first drivers to get the 2 fast repairs used, so it's been... what, 120 laps or so of scary to this point, and now we have a 10-lap run to the end or so where it's just you guys going all out in some jet fighters on a track. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's going to be really exhilarating here at the end of this thing. Hopefully we don't have any stupid moves or anything. Like I said, I want to get to the end of this thing, and I'll be happy with wherever I finish. Goal is to run all 1,100 miles today, so whatever happens, as long as we get to the end, I'll be happy.
And specifically, if we can theorize and pick your driver brain a little bit here, Seth stayed out. Cam took no tires. Do you have any idea of why?
Well, Seth's only got 10 laps on his set right here.
He actually didn't take tires the last time he pitted.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting strategy then. That explains why I was driving away from him after I passed him, unless he was just taking it easy. So we'll see what happens. I don't think tires have really been that worthwhile thus far. I did a double stint earlier and really didn't lose any time. So it might not be a bad call for him.
I guess we'll find out. Appreciate your info.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Best of luck here. Brian Zamara going for a 2nd win in a row in this event. He won it last year. Seth Stridel finding out maybe tires aren't that big of a deal. That's news to me. We're going to find out here with 9 laps to go this time by, and maybe the final CC's Business caution period of the day. Green flag back out in Indianapolis. From the fan cam, they get this race restarted right at the end. Seth Stridel, your race leader. Cam Patterson 2nd. You see them snake down the backstretch. Fozzie Fazzillo in 3rd. Brian Zamara 4th, and here we go for the race win.
Still so much racing left to run here. You would think with 8 laps to go coming to the line that we'd be wrapping up relatively quickly, but no. We still got lots of racing left. 8 laps to go at the line. Stridel still leading. Everyone snaking down the front stretch, trying to find a way to stay in it. It's only this top 4 seem like they've got a shot right now. Lavin almost 5 seconds back.
I would say top 5.
Yeah, top 5 really.
That would include Wyatt Imes. Here we go, though. Cam Patterson, a run for the win,
tight.
Potentially. That was real close out of turn 3.
That was incredibly close.
That made Seth Stridel back out. Cam Patterson right down on his door. Old tires at the front. Here comes Fozzie Fazzillo. 7 laps to go this time by at Indy.
Drivers are not letting anything go. Stridle back to the inside. Patterson side by side.
Didn't make it stick.
Still hangs on. It's those new tires, Andrew.
He doesn't have new tires either, and Stridle's way off pace. He had nothing there in turn 2. Cam Patterson's on old tires. Seth Stridle's on old tires. Here come the new tires, though. Down to the inside, Brian Zamora trying to get to the front, trying to make a move for the win. Fozzie Bear in the wall.
That's a wing gone on the left side of Fazzillo. Oh, no.
Zamora had to do something there. That was a little drastic. He's still got a chance, though. He's not out of this. Fozzie is more or less out of it, though. He needs a caution.
Unfortunate there. Such a good run all day. And now, Zamora trying to see if he can get second. He has to dispatch Stridle as quickly as possible if he wants to repeat. Caution on the speedway.
There it is. And it's Fozzie Fazzillo.
Oh, he's
And
got
he'll
major
tow.
damage on that car now.
Immediately tows. This is the back end of it. Actually, no, that's where he got hit, down into turn 3. The car looked okay other than the left front wing being gone, so what ends up happening here is my question. It's going to be out of turn 2.
Looks like they're going to try to get this caution wrapped up as quickly as possible. It looks like he just lost all steering there.
He just had nothing. Oh, he came down to park it, threw it in the fence, and came back on the racetrack. And I understand the frustration, but that's inexcusable.
That's very inexcusable.
You just chose to park it on the racetrack and caused a caution for the rest of everybody else. And I get the frustration, but you can't do that. And to his credit, let's show the move that puts him in this situation in the first place. He goes down to the inside of Stridle. Here comes a massive run from Zamora, all the way down to the white line almost. And he just clipped the grass. It's a simple mistake. But you can't, out of frustration, throw your car into a fit into the inside wall and then park on the racetrack and cause a caution. That's not okay.
We've all seen it before. We all know what it's like. Most of us have been in that same situation before. You can't let the emotions ruin everyone else's race. But again, now this sets things up. We do see everyone kind of get thrown back into the mix. Brianna's now going to get thrown up to the front in front of the lap cars. We've got Stridle now back up with Patterson. You've got Zamora on fresh tires now into third. Things are starting to take quite a bit of a turn here.
Honestly, it's a straight up run to the end. We're going to have 1 or 2 laps. Pace car lights have been extinguished, so we're going to have 3 actually. We'll have 3 laps to go to the end of the race. Props to the race crew for getting this race restarted so quickly, because they're about to go back green. The caution literally just came out still. So that happened pretty quickly, and we're going to have Cam Patterson out front with old tires still. Seth Stridle on old tires. Older tires even. Brian Zamora is the first car on new tires. Look who's 4th.
Brianna Lavin.
Not quite.
Oh, white lines. Oh my goodness. I was looking at the wrong ticker. Oh my goodness.
White Iams, 4th place, has a big opportunity here. Brianna Lavin, 5th. Even Matthew Byers is back in this race in 6th. A lot's about to happen.
And it's all about to go down, Andrew. Pace car's going to make that hard left turn. 3 laps at Indy.
This is the final opportunity. A bit of a jackrabbit in the back, but green flag out for the final time. We take that CC's business caution flag graphic down. 3 laps to go at Indianapolis. This is it. Final opportunity at a green flag finish. There's a big move from Zamara. He's going to go way down to the inside and get by Seth Stridle, or hopefully get by Seth Stridle by turn 3.
He's going to be able to make it work. Going into 3, still side by side. Stridle hangs on, gets clear. Not going to be able to make anything happen right now. Patterson's still out in front, but they're coming with a run. Zamara stays in line. I think he realizes that he's got to be able to suck up a little bit more, and there they go. Big run down the front stretch. 2 laps to go.
I don't know.
5 miles of racing.
I don't know if Stridle's going to be able to outduel 38. I think Zamara needs to get by the 15 car ASAP.
They lost a little bit of time going through turn number 1. He's got to have the run down the back straightaway. He's got to make something happen now.
Wyatt Imes, 4th place, just watching this all happen. Cam Patterson with a lap and a half now closing to go. Has got to feel pretty good. White flag this time by.
He gained so much in the corners. Those two close up to Patterson on the straightaway with a big run. But going through the corners, oh look, there's the move. They're going for it. White flag.
White flag there. Zamara is going to back out. This is all Seth Stridle and Cam Patterson now. The 53 is way too far back. Wyatt Imes actually looks to the inside for 3rd.
Going down the back straightaway one last time. Patterson, he's got to break the toe. He's got to do something. Car's in the wall behind. Never mind, though. Into turn 3. Stridle, as close as he's ever been, goes for a big lunge.
That's
Can't
it.
Get
It got covered up. Cam Patterson's about to walk around here the final 2 corners at Indianapolis and go to victory lane. Wait for it. Yeah, there we go. Car 38 posted to the victory lane, posted to checkered flag. He's going to win the Indianapolis 500. Cam Patterson.
What a good job defending to hold on to that win. Stridle threw everything at him. I think he really should have held off a little bit longer on that move to be able to get the run, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. It's Indy, baby.
Race winner, wait for it, Cam Patterson. Well, about 3 hours in. Healthy way to spend your Saturday morning and afternoon with us at Pit Stop TV. Thanks for being here. We're not going away just yet, but race win for Cam Patterson. He nails down the first leg of this 1,100-mile day for the Donut Box Racing League and 5150 Racing League. He'll be able to park it on the yard of bricks and decide if he wants to do a burnout or not, and he will.
Can't not do a burnout, Andrew. It's Indianapolis, baby. You gotta give him a smoke show.
So he'll do a burnout there on the inside wall and park it. Seth Stridle 3rd. Big day for him. Brian Zamara in that. Seth Stridle 2nd, then Brian Zamara 3rd. Let's go through your unofficial race results. Cam Patterson, Seth Stridle, Brian Zamara, your podium. Wyatt Imes, Brianna Lavin, Matthew Byers, so on through your top 10. Fozzie, unfortunately, with whatever happened there towards the end, of course, parked it on the racetrack. And how about JT Tinker finishing 9th? Stayed in it for 90% of this race, 3 laps down after what happened at the beginning of this race. Hate the circumstances that came to be for some of these guys. Cody Moore, Spencer Torrance, and so on and so forth, but what a race it was. Now, it's yet to be known if we're going to get our race winner for conversation. But we can at least get Zamara, who finishes 3rd, and speak with driver 53. And Brian, we talked to you a little while ago.
Mm-hmm.
How about the end of that race? Do you feel like you could have done anything differently?
Well, if I wasn't such a NASCAR-minded person, I would have realized that wasn't white flag and not let off. But I also wouldn't have been going for that move had I realized it wasn't the last lap. So, I mean, at least I tried. I'm happy about that. I'm sorry to the guy that I hit there at the end, but I mean, that move happens even in real life at the end of this thing. So I'm apologizing, but I mean, that's a real racing move, and I'm sorry about that. But yeah, other than that, I'm happy we finished the thing. It's a good day overall. Hopefully we can go out and finish the 600 later on pretty well too.
Yeah, still more racing than not left to go, right? A whole 600-mile race at Charlotte. How do you feel about it? Have you put some testing in?
You know, our hallmark of my guys over here is that we do not do any testing or do officials or anything. We show up and we practice that hour, and it hurts us every time, but that's what we do because it's fun that way.
Well, fair enough. Brian, good to talk to you again here towards the end of the day. Wish it had worked out better for you. I hear you were going to try and make it back-to-back. Maybe you go out there next year, maybe 2026 you get a back-to-back.
Yeah, hopefully we can make something like that happen. Last time we ran one of these, I did manage to win it. I think we only had like 8 cars that time, and I'm pretty sure I was the only car on the lead lap at the end of the thing because everybody else had wrecked. So it was nice to have some competition today, even if it didn't come out on top this time.
Absolutely. Competition was still high, even with the car count where it was. Congratulations, Brian. Hopefully we're talking to you again very soon.
All right, thank you.
And we do have Cam Patterson, who goes down with the race win this afternoon. Cam, that was a pretty significant Indy 500, pretty significant last few laps for you, and you're in victory lane, 92 laps led. How's that all feel?
It was great. Honestly, I had my adrenaline pumping, so I was getting a little bit nervous towards the end, especially when that late caution came out, because all those guys were fighting so hard for second place that I managed to get out in the lead just a little bit so that they weren't able to catch up to me as well. But then when those few laps came around, Seth didn't have the best car to manage in the dirty air, and I've kind of realized that throughout the race, and my teammate Brianna did too. So whenever it came down to 2 to go and I realized that he couldn't get me in the straights, neither could he get me the turns, I just accepted the win, and I was able to cross the finish line first.
Noticed you didn't take tires those last couple of stops. What was the motivation there?
One of those quick stops so that I could somehow manage to get the overcut, because a lot of the guys that I was fighting for the lead were pitting before me and didn't really have to pit for the rest of the race. So what I wanted to do is go in the pits and get a quick splash and go, and then be able to come out on top.
And are you taking part in this second leg of this 1,100-mile day, the Coke 600, here in a couple hours?
Yes, sir. I'll be there. Similar looking car, just a little bit more American.
Well, best of luck to you. Unfortunately, we won't be making it out to that, but a really fun day regardless. Really good to, see you go to victory lane. Hopefully we're talking to you again sometime in the future.
Hope so too. See you guys later.
Cam Patterson with the race win. Well, Zach, that is how we sort out 500 miles of racing, apparently, here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What a day.
What a topsy-turvy day. We had a little lighter on the car count, but still lots of excitement all the way around. So many different things that unfolded today that made this race a little bit better than I was honestly expecting.
We can take a look at the race info here towards the end. 6 cautions for 17 laps, 23 lead changes. I know that the car count, it was the glaring thing at the start, right? How are you going to have a race with 13 cars? Well, we actually had a damn good race with 13 cars. I think we had a really good day here. I know there's a lot of naysayers always, but this field, I think, put on a really solid event, and I would watch it again any day, and I would be here again any day. So I can only imagine if they're continuing to add cars event after event, where these guys might be in another season of racing, and maybe another year come back for Indy in 2025. Who knows? I think there's definitely good things on the horizon for each of these groups, the Donut Box Racing League and the 5150 Racing League, and all of their different groups that they associate with and came to partnership with for this event. I think there's definitely good things on the way. For us, what's on the way is a date with Charlotte Motor Speedway. 2 dates in a row, in fact. We would go out there from May 27th on Monday evening, Memorial Day evening. At 7:45 Eastern, we go racing with the Icon Cup Series. And Zach, we had to miss Darlington, unfortunately. It was on Mother's Day, just couldn't get away for that one. But as we get into this mid-season run for those guys, we have Charlotte, we have Gateway, we have Sonoma, some of these really unique racetracks. We've got guys that need to get wins. It's going to get tougher and tougher to do so. These races are going to matter more and more as we go on, and it's just going to get more and more fun. I think the storylines, you're only going to keep building in that series, and I'm excited to get to these next few races with them.
Oh, me too. I can't wait. There are so many great things to do in the upcoming races and so many great ways to follow along. Facebook.com/pitstoptv, Instagram.com/pit_stop_TV, Twitter.com or X.com, whichever you prefer. Both the links still work if I'm not mistaken. Twitter.com/pitstoptv_. twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV, and then youtube.com, the only place, not the only place, the best place, I say, to watch Pit Stop TV. youtube.com/pitstoptv1, and then kick.com/pitstoptv1. However, we will be ending our services soon on Kick if we haven't already. That one is up to Andrew. Have not heard whether or not that's going to be ending sooner or later.
Well, this was definitely a fun day at the races. Also have to mention we are going racing on Tuesday with the Rigel Promotions Victory Fuel 125 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But that will do it for us this afternoon, I should say, from the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Cody Moore, Donut Box Racing League, 5150 Racing League, Blake Hutchinson, thank you for having us here, guys. It has been a pleasure as always, and very much would look forward to doing it again any day, anytime. You let us know, we'll be here. This was a lot of fun, even if there were some big twists, turns, and speed bumps along the way. Very much enjoyed myself this afternoon, and you know what? Just like what I'm said in the league Discord, even with some of the weird stuff that happened, that race was definitely really fun. I just read that verbatim, and that absolutely is a good way to look at this one. That will do it for us, though, one more time. This broadcast brought to you by the Donut Box Racing League, the 5150 Racing League, Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, and CC's Business. We're going to shut it down. We'll see you all Monday evening on Memorial Day. On Memorial Day, that should be a whole lot of fun for the Icon Cup Series from Charlotte.